Hello and welcome to Call to Arms, and thank you for answering the call. And I am super excited for this show tonight. We are on Battlecry episode 18 now. We're fair racking them up, and it's KO time. It's KO book review time. I'm so excited for this book because I love making some KO. I'm also super excited because I'm joined by none other than Mr. Max Baumann. How are we, sir?
Hello, hello. Thanks for having me. I'm good. I'm good. Excited to
Oh,
talk KO.
Oh, mate, super excited. And no, thank you so much for coming on. It's an honour to have you. You are a vaunted admiral of the Aethercast fleet. And yeah, you sure do know your Sky Dwarf. So I'm really looking forward to picking your brains and getting your thoughts on the new tome. So tell us a bit about yourself, Max. How long have you been rocking the KO for?
Oh, the KO, not so much. Basically, I dove into KO when the last book dropped,
Mm-hmm.
so January 2020.
Okay.
Playing Age of Sigmar since early 2019 when I got back to it. I used to play Warhammer Fantasy as a child, and then I got back to into it. Played Dispossessed first, then I found out they had like one page of rules in the General's Handbook, and they were pretty shit. Then the Fire Slayers came out with their new book, so I played them because I'm all about dwarves, all about Dwarden, what they're called now.
Yep.
And then with Cities of Sigma, there was the option, to play my dwarves with some flying dwarves in Tempest Eye. I was like, oh, I'll buy a Gunhauler and maybe some Arcanauts. And yeah, that was my gateway drug. And then I had a KO army, and I don't know how I ended up on Aethercast with Lee and Alex. And I've been playing mostly Kharadron Overlords at tournaments. I really enjoy the playstyle. It's not for everyone. I accept that in the beginning it used to be very, very non-interactive. Just,
Yes.
I fly over here, I shoot, take off your toys.
Yep.
But no, they're great. They had good times in the beginning, not so good times early third edition, back back up since last summer. Now
Mm-hmm.
with a new book, it's big changes, and I'm excited. Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, big changes, and yeah, they were definitely seeing some good play. I think at the tail end of the last kind of the last GHB, it looks like they were having some decent times. New GHB dropped, and a wee bit of a dip, but then new book, and there's a lot of possibilities here. And yeah, we were just having a chat before the stream, and we're just talking about War Scrolls. There's so many good War Scrolls, so many good builds, so many things you could take into. I think there's a lot of variety here as well, which is just awesome to see. So yeah, looking forward to what the new season
Absolutely.
brings. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Cool. So before we get started, we've got quite a few folk in chat. So let's have a look here. So we've got Scott Smith saying, "Hey Max." He's not saying, "Hey DJ," so that's quite rude actually. Just
Hi Scott. Hi Scott.
clearly, I've got a bit of a fanboy there. We've got Stefan Guggenberger says hi. We've got Richard Cooper says hello, and Daniel Zuzik also says hi. Everyone who says hi, Max as well.
Hi
So
Dan. Hi
thanks,
Dan.
yeah, thanks so
I
much for
need I
joining
need
in.
I need to call out Dan because Dan and me used to play Warhammer Fantasy when we were like 11 years old, 12 years old.
Wow.
And he and his brother, they had a big dwarf army. So I couldn't play dwarves because they play dwarves, so I had to play elves. I had a few
Uh,
elf armies, but since I came back to Age of Sigmar, I said, "Oh, there's no Daniel here playing dwarves now. I can play dwarves," and that's how I'm born in Max. And
Love it. See
he's
my
playing Git. He also came back to Warhammer playing Gits.
and he's on Gits. Oh my, quite the change. Yeah, so you managed to
Yeah.
throw off your elf shackles to go back to dwarfs, and then he's on to Gits now. Oh, even filthier. But no, that's a nice. I like a wee throwback. Very good, very good. But yeah, so before we get started on the book review, just a few things to say. So again, thanks for everyone for joining in. Please do get some chat interaction, guys. Any questions at all? You've got one of the best players here in the world, team captain for Germany as well. So please answer. I'm sure it'll be great to pick his brains. And yeah, thanks to all of my sponsors as well. So we've got Minimag Tray, we've got Pro Painted Studios, and we've also Accent Gaming in Dunfermline and Saltire Gaming up in Dundee. You can see on the screen just now, there's a couple of discount codes. So you've got call to 20% for Saltire Games to get 20% off RRP there. You've got call to arms 2023 for 6% 50% off of mini mag tray. So if you're needing to move any big blocks of Arcanauts, big blocks of Thunderers, maybe some blocks of Riggers, yeah, I think some magnetic movement trays is what you need in your life. So check those guys out for sure. And also remember the monthly giveaway, which I'll remind everyone at the end as well, but just keep an eye out for that as well. So yeah, without further ado, let's do the review. So yes, you've already kind of alluded there, Max, big changes happening.
Yes.
If you were to just kind of sum up and say one paragraph of the change from old book to this book, I know it might be a bit much. I'm only limiting you to one paragraph, but if you could sum up kind of what this new book is maybe going to look like for people transitioning over from old book, what would you say?
There's more synergy and more options. Because before there was almost no synergy in between, like the book itself. War Scrolls were pretty good, but the book was awful, I think.
Yeah.
In terms of a book. It was not very good. And there was a lot of FAQ questions and interactions. That's still the same. I think Lee has compiled a list of 18 questions so far.
Yeah.
So
it's rough, yeah.
it's still a KO book. Now we have a hero actually with the FAQ pointing at it. You know,
Yes.
he has the book. No, but it's exciting. There's options. There's a lot of options. You have a lot of freedom, which is great. And it's not only shooting.
Yeah, which
Playing
I think,
more
yeah,
phases than shooting. No.
for sure. That's something that KO has missed for a wee while now. I think there was people that maybe looked to ally in some sort of a combat threat into the army, rather than actually having an actual in-book combat threat. Everything was shooting, everything just teleport shoot, as you said, the play style, which not everyone liked. I quite liked it. I quite liked it as a shooting style. It was a very kind of keep away, very cagey army that could pop off, but you had to kind of really play it quite cagey at some points and be quite tactical. But yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head. The synergies in this book is out the wazoo, because it's not just War Scroll synergies. There's synergies with your amendments, your skyports, your amendments, your footnotes, your articles, your warlord, your command traits, your artifact. Like there's so many things you go, well, I like this and I can pair it with this thing, and I could like this and I can pair it with this. And I think that one of the biggest things in the last book, I think I remember there was a word, a non-bow was mentioned. I can't remember who coined it. I'm pretty sure was it Gary was it Gary P?
Gary or Tom, yeah.
Gary or Tom, yeah, that's right. I remember watching the Warhammer Weekly review with Vince and Tom and Gary, and yeah, rather than combos, it was non-bows. It was just, I'd love to do this thing, but it just can't. And the book was a nightmare to read. This one does read really nice, and it's great to see so many options for sure.
It is in line with the new books. They give you more flavor, more options, and yeah, it's cool. And they give you like a real army playstyle. You know, Nurgle is very defensive. They spread disease. I really like that concept. Now we've seen Slanesh today. We've seen the leaks or the first views. They want to get in combat and farm depravity. That's cool. So on KO they have options. They have movement. They're quick. They're fast. They can hit hard, but there's not many in the army. And there's they're a bit of a glass cannon, I think. Yeah.
No, for sure. Yeah, I think it's the longevity of getting 5 full turns of shooting out of them is the dream. But they can sometimes fall apart. But then having a bit of access to combat there to get on a point and take something off a point at the same time is really good now. Yeah, for sure. So yeah, let's dive in. So we've got the Legion's abilities on screen here. So we've got the Skyports, which we'll touch on a bit later. We then have the Skyfleet's ability, or Skyfleet's kind of subfaction, which has this is a bit of a change. It's kind of like garrisoning, but it's not the same as garrisoning. But it's kind of like it. So we have kind of the 40k transport rules now. We have embarking and we have disembarking rules in here. Now I don't know how to feel about this because I'm sad that I'm losing a bit. I'm sad that I'm losing some pretty good combinations that you could get with the getting out of a garrison and the extra additional move that you could get on that. The ability to get on a ship now is a lot. You've got a much tighter window with
Yeah.
that as well. But yeah, so if you could run through the embarking and disembarking for the folks, Max.
So basically, the ship is not a moving garrison anymore, so that cleared off a lot of rules weirdness when they did that. Now it's embarking and disembarking, so it's its own rule. To embark or disembark, it doesn't need to be start of movement phase or end of phase. All that weirdness is also gone. The only difference is you cannot disembark after the ship has moved, although there are options to do that later in the book. So usually you get in, you can move the ship, or you get out and move the ship and move the unit. It is limited, as you said, to wholly within 3 inches around the boat, so you actually need to get close to your boat. There's not the power that we had in the old book where you can get out within 6 and then still move, giving you in Zilphone basically a 17-inch move to get onto objectives. That was very powerful, but we only had that for last half year. So before we had, you get out and no one moves and the ship has to stay still, and it was weird.
Yeah.
So as we'll see later, there's no difference more between hitching and getting into a boat. All Skyfarers, balloon or no balloon, you can get inside, which makes it much easier. It means you can transport less people, but it makes the whole rule setting much more easier to understand. You need to be wholly within 3 to get in. When you get out, same, wholly within 3. So that's limiting you, but it's easy to remember. And one important change is if your boat is destroyed, before you had to roll for each single model. So, the gunnery sergeant, I need to roll. Then the special weapon 1, special weapon 2. Did you see if they were slain on 1? Now you just count how many people you have inside the boat. You roll that many dice, and for each one, you choose one model that is slain.
Yeah.
So if you have a hero inside there with some Arcanauts, the hero will probably not die because you just kill off some Arcanauts if you roll a lot of 1s.
Yeah, that was a real feels bad. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. We have retained the -1 to be hit and +1 save. The +1 save is still in cover, so you cannot put a ship on terrain and get double +1 to save. It's still cover, but the -1 to hit is also still there, which makes balloons much better. We'll see later. With basically a 3-up save. And one thing that already causes a few head scratches and FAQ questions is the unit inside is considered to have been doing the same move as the ship. So we'll see later there's some rule interactions where this might be limiting. It might be put you in a weird spot. So I think that might need some explanation.
Yeah. Are we going to have a Tusk Helm argument, Max? Is that?
Well, there's no argument from my side because I think the ruling is pretty clear, but there are some people still hoping to strap a hero with a helmet to the prow of their ship.
Just an absolute mortal wound bomb. Yeah, no, for sure. So yeah, no, really, really nice, very succinctly wrapped up there. So yeah, I quite like the new transport rules, as you say. It cleans it up quite nicely. It's very streamlined. Everything just goes in the boat. So Skyfarers can go; they just go in the boat. We'll also see that the capacity of the boats has changed slightly as well, and there's some nice things you can do with people inside the boat. But yeah, the rolling ones for the deaths, it's definitely made me value a little ablative wound squad of Arco and Ironclad to take all the deaths, and then you save everything else that you want, which is nice. So yeah, cool. So that's the kind of the barking, disembarking rules, all very good. Then we are on to the articles, amendments, and footnotes. So they've kept this going. Now it used to be in the old book, when you picked a subfaction, you were stuck with the whatever article, amendment, footnote you got. If you went non-subfaction, you could then kind of pick your own. These, it's just every army you take, you're going to be picking these, which I quite like, and there's some very powerful ones in here. So if we start with the articles, we'll do the kind of the usual thing I always do, which is we each pick our favourite one. So favourite article, I'll let you start with this one, Max. What one would you say is making it into most of your lists?
Most of my lists. Well, all of these have play.
Sure.
But I think the best one is Master Disguise.
Okay.
Plus 2-inch move to all your boats.
Yeah, I think if you're going down a route with more than one boat, I know that you can see there's a lot of double frigate builds going about, or maybe double frigate and gun hauler and things like that. And yes, the list we're going to go through tonight for yourself has got the double frigate in as well. So just adding 2 inches to the move there is pretty huge. It might not sound like a lot, 2 inches, but the fact that the boats themselves move. So for example, frigates, they move 12. Then extra inch obviously is 14. There are, which we'll also see, ways to get additional movement and some pretty big stonking charges as well. So yeah, this just as a flat ability is actually quite potent, and especially when with those war scrolls you're also wanting to fly over things to maybe drop some bombs on them. This can come in clutch. An extra couple of inches could mean the difference between bombing or not bombing.
Exactly.
Which is pretty cool. So no, I really like that pick. For me, I just want to pick both. I want to pick both the other two. And
they're all good.
Yeah, that's the thing. They're so good. The articles are awesome, and it's also one of the main reasons why, as we'll see later on, I went for a skyport that's allowed me to pick 2, because I think the 4-up rally. So let's talk about the 4-up rally, because I think that's the kind of elephant in the room right now. Everyone's, I think, in the community is kind of losing their minds over things that have 4-up rally, right? And they see it as very, very strong. Now, initially when I picked up with the book and I was kind of reading it, I didn't think this would have much play, because we're very fragile, and it's getting to the ability where you have a squad left to then be able to rally back. I feel like you might not get there that often, but obviously it kind of depends. I've slightly changed my mind on that after some play, but yeah, I think the 4-up rally could be pretty good, and I do quite like it. And then the Settle the Grudges, because we've lost the Aether Gold. Yes,
that's one thing we should mention.
Yeah, let's mention that just now. Aether Gold is gone, guys. So we do not have access to +1 to wounds so readily. So being able to pick that now, I know it's kind of still quite limited because you only get it on one unit that you can pick, but with so many lists nowadays where they're basically running maybe a Death Star unit, or they may be running maybe 2 to 3 big hammer units, you can pick the one that you think, I'm going to need +1 to wound on this one here, and then you just get it for your entire army. I think it's pretty strong.
Yes, especially since if you want to use Thunderers, for example, they still wound on 4s without gold, without rerolls. It might be tough. And this is great because it's attacks. It's not just shooting. It's also melee.
Yeah.
And it's one unit. As you said, if my opponent has 3 threats, that's one threat of those I need less resources maybe to get rid of.
Yeah.
So it's a great pick. And about the 4-up rally, I mean, there's a difference between rallying 30 hoppers on a 4-up, which is extremely powerful, and 6 engine riggers, because if someone hits 6 engine riggers and you're hoping to rally, there probably is no one left to rally. You just lost a unit. So I think that only has play if you play big blocks of Arcanauts or Thunderers. And then it's very strong.
Yeah, no, agreed. Thunderers are pretty tanky. 3-up saves, the ability to get -1 to hit on things as well if you've shot them. Yeah, I think that could definitely have some play. So yeah, cool, good articles. Let's go into amendments. So we have part of the amendments. So again, I'll let you go first. I think I might know the one you might. I think I know the one you're going to go for. But what's your pick for amendments?
I like 2. Trust to your guns is the one I like least, because it's 1 reroll of 1 hit. Nah, it's not gonna have a big impact.
No.
But since we went for the move in the first place with the article, I'm gonna continue with prosecute wars with all haste, which gives Once per turn, one unit can make a 2d6 roll instead of a 1d6 roll.
Yeah.
And this is also very good because it's additional movement. We see later that movement in the army has changed significantly. So you actually need to move and not teleport. So the more you can get, the better.
Yeah, for sure. This is awesome, especially with the access to run and charge that we've got now as well, and you're stacking all those plus movement bonuses, and there's run and charge with re-rolling the run as well, and there's 2d6 dice here, so that's a pretty big move. So yeah, no, I really like that, especially for the multiple boat picks. Yeah, if you're running kind of boat heavy, frigate heavy, that's awesome. So yeah, I'll go with the other one then. Always take what you're owed. I have played this one recently and I loved it. So at the start of your hero phase, pick a friendly Arcanaut company unit until the start of your next hero phase. Each model that unit counts as 2 models instead of 1 for the purposes of contesting objectives. So yeah, I think this is, if you're going to be running Arco now, obviously how many Arco you run is going to, or the efficiency of this amendment is going to depend on how many Arco you're wanting to run. But I played a test game the other day there. I just had 3 10s of Arco, and I took this amendment, and they were just really annoying for my opponent because I was able to say, oh, they're going to be double, and they're just going to, I'm going to auto run them onto that objective, and even if you redeploy your full unit on there, you can't take it off me because they're 20 models. Yeah. And it's like, so that point's mine. And then if you've got a wee tenor of Arco flying about in a ship to drop off later and say, oh, they're going to be double as well, I'm going to take that objective off you. I found really good play from this, and yeah, it just made the Arco really, really annoying for my opponent. Now, obviously, they are still 10 wounds and a 4-up save. They could probably get rattled off quite quickly, but just something else to give you a bit more board presence and control I found it to be really, really useful.
Yeah, it is especially good if you then take the 4-up rally. So you rally. You have 5 Arcos left. You rally them, and then they count double. That can steal an objective easily, yeah.
For sure, no, for sure. Cool. So amendments done. Let's move on to the footnotes. There is probably there's 2 here that I like. I will let you pick first, sir. What would you be going for the amendments? Sorry, for the
footnotes. Let's pick the one that everyone I think favors is the once per battle. All of the footnotes are once per battle only, so it's a good thing we got the hero that allows us to cycle through them. You can attempt to charge with a KO unit. Doesn't have to be a ship. Can be any KO unit. When you're within 18, and you can roll 3d6 for your charge roll. So basically the Kragnos roll for 1 unit. And this, as we mentioned, we have the extra move on the ship. Then we can run 2d6 and re-roll it. And now we can charge 3d6. You can get quite far with that boat.
For sure, you'll be going places. So yeah, nowhere on the board is safe from that boat. So yeah, I love this one. I think I've taken it in every list that I've ran so far. So yeah, just a great pick.
Especially if you pick the battle ram, then this is a no-brainer. The battle ram is still there, guys. It's still the same. It's still not modified charge roll. It's unmodified. But there's no bonuses to charge so far, I found. But still.
Yeah.
3d6 charge.
I will take the Kragnos Ogre charge, thank you. On the clad, please. So love it. The other one that a lot of people have been vying for is the without our ships we are not. Once per battle at the start of any phase, pick 1 friendly sky vessel. That unit can receive up to 2 commands in that phase instead of only 1. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, well, what is that kind of going to do for me, kind of thing? But there is some very nice combinations you can run, especially with the Iron Sky command abilities that we're going to discuss just in a little moment. There's also some play that I've seen with the leadership of the Alpha aspect of the champion as well that you can run with this. So basically, so how would this work, Max, in terms of why would I want to do this?
Basically, as you said, it all has to do with the next segment of the book, the Iron Sky command abilities.
Yeah, let's go into that then, if you like. Yeah.
Yeah. So all of these can be issued by the sky vessels themselves to themselves. So this includes gun haulers or an admiral. So you either need an admiral in the ship or near the ship, because it doesn't say the admiral needs to be embarked in the ship. He just needs to be close and within range of the command ability. being 12-inch, or if he's the general 18 inches, so standard core rules range. Or the ship themselves, which makes the ship much more independent than it used to be. You always needed a hero inside the ship, basically.
Yeah.
Now, these three things, two of them are very familiar. Fly high and disengage. Now are command abilities, which means if we go back to the footnote, you can do 2 per phase. You can do 2 of these things, so you can disengage, and then you can fly away.
Yeah.
Because fly high does not work anymore within 3 inches of, if you're in combat, within 3 inches of enemy models or enemy units. But now you can disengage first, then spend another command point once per game, fly high, and then you can still shoot, which is might make the difference between your boat surviving or not. And the new one is also very cool, but the title is confusing. It is called Combat Landing.
Yep.
So you think, oh, I can get my people into combat. But no. This is at the end of the movement phase. All of these are, except the disengage, are fly high, and this one is end.
Yep. End of movement.
So it must be a transport vessel. So by basic rules, it's the frigate and the Ironclad. You can make a gun holder still a transport vessel, but so far it's only those 2. So end of movement phase, these units inside can immediately disembark. So this overrules what we learned previously, that you cannot get out of the ship after it has moved. Now you can. If you can spend 2 command points or issue 2 command abilities, it means you can fly high and still get out. The rules are the same. You disembark, so wholly within 3 inches. Now you'd think, oh, great, so I can fly high to 9 inches away, disembark my unit, because it all happens end of the movement phase, so you choose the order. And now I need a 6-inch charge. But no, units disembarked this way, they cannot move in the same turn, which includes charging, piling in. So you're not combating.
No.
You're disembarking close to combat.
Yeah.
If you want. But it gets people onto objectives.
Yeah, for sure.
That is. So we have one way. We already found one way, which was a big minus in the last book, in my opinion. Is it was hard to actually get onto objectives. You had to shoot the people off and then move on the next turn. So try to catch up on points that you missed out on the first 2 turns. Now this already gives you an option to get onto the objective in the turn you're moving towards the objective.
Yeah, no, this is really good. Also, we'll be able to get certain units perhaps in shooting range as well. The thing about some of the units, so for example, we're talking about Arcanaut Company, they only have 9-inch range pistols. If you fly high, you can't shoot with them because you have to land outside of an inch. If you fly high and then combat land with your footnote, then you can actually get those little boys in range to be able to blast away, and then as you say, get onto objectives as well. I've seen some combos with the combat landing and the fly high and the footnote for also getting big block of 15 Thunderers out as well.
Yes.
Just out and then obviously within range as well. Now it says that the unit that disembarked can't move. Can the ship still move after the combat landing?
I'd say no, because it's end of movement phase.
All right, okay, but could it still make a charge move, for example?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So you could drop out people and then fly off.
And then charge. Okay. Perfect. No, fantastic.
That's my understanding. Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. And then obviously with the footnote and with this combo, you would need to have, if I'm right in saying, you would need to have an admiral nearby as well, because so it says the unit, so the sky vessel can receive up to 2 commands, but it can't issue itself 2 commands because it doesn't override the rule for issuing the same, 2 commands. So you would have to do the admiral to issue 1 to the ship, and then the ship would then issue itself.
Exactly.
Is that right? Yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Exactly.
Okay. Perfect. Cool. So that's them. Yep. Nice. So we're not flying high in our entire army anymore. We're doing it once, and that's it.
So this is I think this is one of the biggest changes in the book.
Yeah, no,
You need to
absolutely.
think ahead. You need to plan ahead. You need command points for this, but there's options to get loads and loads of command points.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Yeah.
And there's a couple for free. But yeah, you cannot deploy your entire army in the corner as we used to, because yeah, you need to get places now by moving like the plebs, like other people. You need to actually move your units.
Damn it.
Yep.
Damn
You need to
it.
measure movement. Yeah, get used to it.
God's sake. But it's fine, at least you can measure movement, yeah, with a big 30-inch stick, right, for the other ship, because it's going like super fast.
The other ship
right?
can go. I mean, a gun holder still can do +6 move once per game. Add the other two from the article. So you're going 20 base, and then you can run and move. So you can go 40 inches with a gun holder, no problem.
Whatever you want. Love it. Love it. No, cool. So yes, that's the Iron Sky abilities. Nice little flavour pick. I do still bemoan the fact that the ships don't have elite, so they can't issue the other commands themselves. But you can't have everything. Can't have everything. But that's fine. So yeah, now we're on to the enhancements. So we've got command traits now. So we have what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 6 to choose from. Let's go with top picks again then, Max. So what would you be going for here?
So, in our show on Aethercast, I was a big defender of the Cunning Fleet Master, which allows you at the end of the enemy movement phase, if you're outside of 12 inches, to move a sky vessel that is within 12 inches of this general. Not wholly within 12 inches. And it can make a normal move. We've seen with Frigate with 14-inch move or even 16-inch move, you can just move your ship anywhere. This is extremely powerful because moving in your opponent's turn.
Yeah.
This can deny battle tactics. It can score your objectives and deny them for your opponent. It is very strong. However, I think it needs a lot of consideration because of the limitation. You need to be wholly outside of 12 inches before you do it.
Yeah.
So it's not a redeploy because they cannot charge you anyway unless they have a Kraknos style charge. So I think actually the more use you might get out of Stormcaller.
Yeah.
And I particularly like this. This is Stormcaller. This is we'll see the Navigator rules in a bit. But the important difference is it doesn't have to be a Navigator to get this trait. It can be any general.
Correct.
And it benefits any navigators in your army. So I love that already. This is some freedom we gain. I want this for navigators, but I don't need to make my navigator the general.
Yeah.
I can still choose my general as I want. And it allows him to reroll his dice for his ability, and we'll see that is extremely strong.
Yeah, no, for sure. So I like Stormclaws a bit. There's quite a few here that when I was going through lists, I was thinking, oh God, I like this, and God, I really like that as well. I wish I could have that also. But yes, but that's great to have. It's great that you've got so many different options you can go for. So Cunning Fleet Master, you're absolutely right. Like in terms of people say I've said it for years. Movement wins games. Movement wins AOS. That's the real juice. But yeah, you're absolutely right. I do not like the limitation of all an enemy needs to do is just toe in to within 12 with just one little model, and it completely wrecks this ability. So you're right. I think it's going to take a lot of thinking, as you say, consideration as well for this. But yeah, so there's that one. I think the fun pick, Grudgebearer, just to make your guy double damage on an enemy hero, I think could be pretty fun. Now, obviously, you're the heroes that we have. So you've got an Admiral, which is just only 3 attacks. There is ways to get additional attacks though, from another hero, and which is pretty cool. So he could be 6 damage on his Scalp Hammer. If you've got, I've seen the memes. Flaming Weapon on him as well takes up to 7 damage against an enemy hero, and his pistol shots are doing 4 damage a piece as well. And that's just very fun. It's very Timmy, and it's just very like, oh, yes, I'd love to just absolutely waste that hero with my,
Free,
my tiny little
free
dwarf.
attacks,
Yeah.
2s and 2s, 2 rend, 7
Yeah,
damage.
7 damage. Yeah,
You can wreck people.
there's 21 damage, mate. Yeah, deal with it. But yeah, and then yeah, Stormcaller I really like. To have any more modicum of control over those 6 dice that the Navigator rolls, I think is huge, considering as well how powerful those abilities that you could choose from are as well. But yeah, I would say the one that I'm getting the most work out of, and it's purely because I haven't really been looking, I haven't been writing any Barak Nar lists, is X Grunstock. And I purely take this so that I can take a 15-man unit of Thunderers. Because this one makes all friendly Grunstock units have the battle line battlefield roll, so your gun haulers can be battle line, but more importantly your Thunderers are battle line, so you can double reinforce those guys up to 15. The only other way you can make them battle line is in Barak Nar, which is they just get battle line naturally. So if you are wanting to take them, then you either need this trait or you need to be going in Barak Nar. So I've been taking this trait quite a bit just to get that big block of Thunderers. It's also quite nice as well is that you, in addition, you can spend issue a command. Your general can issue a command to that Grunstock unit without a command point being spent. That's once per turn as well. So that's pretty powerful. So once in your turn, once in your opponent's turn, you've got 2 free command points you can spend onto that unit, or onto any Grunstock unit, which I think is really, really cool.
Yeah, it is very strong, and this goes back to my argument. This book gives you a lot of options and liberty. Oh, you want to play Barak Zon, but you want Thunderers, and you want 15 of them? Yeah, just take this trait and you can have 15.
Yeah.
No issue. You can season to taste. Fantastic.
Yeah, no, sure. And another thing just to kind of call on as well with Stormcaller, as you said, you don't have to make your Navigator the general in order to get this trait, which is awesome. And you also see this somewhere else in the book where you can unlock another battle line option with a hero, and then, so for example, I'll just tell everyone the now, so you can unlock Endrin Riggers as battle line if you have an Endrin Master, yeah? That could be the normal one on foot, or you can have on the dirigible suit, but you don't have to make him the general either. There's so many times in other books it's if you make this person the general, it unlocks this battle line. But if you just have it in your army, you get them as battle line as well. And I love
I think
all that freedom.
That is unique in AOS so far. I think
100%.
I've never seen that before.
No.
And I have to double read it too, like, oh, actually, he doesn't need to be the general. This is so much better.
Yeah.
Just stick a 90-point hero in your army who is doing something for your army anyway.
Yeah.
And unlock another battle line option. Yeah.
For sure. No, it's awesome. As you say, lots of freedom. So cool. So command traits, lots of very strong options. We've got the same again in artifacts of power, because there's so many here that I would just love to take quite a lot of them. So let's go for it. So what is your pick here? If you had to pick just one, what would you be taking?
Just one.
Maybe 2. Maybe give you 2, Max.
I'll probably pick the Voidstone Orb.
Yeah.
It had a slight nerf. It now only works on unbinding, not anymore on dispelling. But it is so powerful against certain matchups where you can just say, oh, that spell portal or that teleport spell you're going to do? Nah.
Yeah.
No,
so,
you're not.
Yeah.
I stopped it. That can throw off your opponent's strategy completely.
Correct. Yeah, I think we need to talk about the tech list in the room for sure, because that's something that is causing a lot of people a lot of issues. The old Techless Castle build, and yeah, just having that ability to sit right back, and if he wants to teleport forward and then try his Searing White Light and blast everything in the bolts and whatever, and then you just say nope, or that person that's really wanting to hit you with something with spell portal, you just go nope, not doing that, and it buys you that additional turn of safety to then be able to deal with it later. So yeah, no, really nice pick. I like that. For me, I'm going Spell in a Bottle all day, baby, and I'm taking that bridge for as long as I can. I'm taking the Soul Screen bridge. So yeah, so Spell in a Bottle. So it's slightly changed now. So it's still Aether Chemist only. You still take an endless spell, but it has to be non-faction specific. So it has to be your generic endless spells, but with the added caveat that it is totally free. which is very nice. Getting things for free is pretty strong. We saw it in the Gets book with the Loon Skin command trait for the Trog boss. Just taking an endless spell which could save you 60, 80, 100 points, which is pretty awesome. And yeah, I've been bridging Thunderers all over the place, mate. That has been my jam. So yeah, I like spell in a bottle. I'd say the other kind of picks that you again could also see play, the burst grenade to just remove ward.
Absolutely.
It's not, and it's just that's so strong. It used to be part of the Admiral's ability. You would pick the ammunition before the start of the game, and you would say, right, cool, 2 up, get rid of the wards. That's just so clutch into certain army builds. So Nurgle, Nighthaunt, or even Slaves.
Even Lumineth.
Yeah,
5 up.
for sure. Yeah, 100%. So yeah, getting rid of that stuff is good. I have seen quite a few people run the Blazebeard and Sons Drac Hobbler Mag Bolus. Which is strange because I didn't think monsters were really that big a deal these days.
Since we lost the ability to quarter move flying monsters from Navigator, it doesn't stack anymore. It works slightly different now. This is very strong. Pick a monster within 12 and stop it. This can also be combined with the Fleet Master. So your ship is behind your lines. The monster approaches. You move within 12 from outside, and then now start of shooting phase. Next turn you can say, well, no, actually it's yours to shooting phase. Never mind. That's good. It's still the same as it used to be. It's the Admiral's ability from the War Scroll, but they need to roll sometimes they need to roll a 6. If you do a redeploy, it's even harder. If you half move them, some monsters can't make the charge anymore, which is very powerful. But I agree, I don't tend to see that many monsters in lists at the moment, so I value the burst grenade much higher.
Yeah, burst grenade's very cool.
Although you have the option, you face an army without wards, or 6 up wards, which is maybe you don't want to waste an artifact on that.
That's true. And then the kind of the meme pick, I think that a lot of people are like, yes, let's just roll 2 ups as the Phosphorite Bomblets. So it has to be Engine Master only. You pick once per battle, shooting phase, pick a unit within 6. So you do have to get quite danger close. And you just roll 2 up. If you do, they suffer a mortal wound, and they keep suffering mortal wounds if you keep rolling 2 ups. So it's how lucky do you feel, guys? Could you just lift a unit a la kind of Wargog, the old stair masks, or could it just roll a 1 and fluff? So it's a very swingy.
It's cool. It now also works on the foot, Engine Master, which is great. And it's an ability in the shooting phase. It's not a shooting attack, so you can actually run your unit up within 6. You do not lead line of sight. So if someone's sitting in a wildwood, you can just run up next to it and say, well, you are in 6. And then you start rolling, and you can, if you roll hot, you can take out
for sure.
pretty hoppers.
For sure.
But if you roll a 1 and the second dice, then it's a bit of a waste of an artifact again.
But that's a good
It's definitely cool. Especially we'll see ships have bombing ability like hoppers. They move over, and more often than not, I think you will not fly across the unit, but you will tag it and go back in front of it. Place it that you're in 6 inches. So you do the bombs, and then you add another mortal wounds. Then you charge. You'll do another mortal wounds. It's an interesting option if you're going for a mortal wound build.
Yeah, that's quite cool. I know, really good shout out on the fact that it's not a shooting attack as well. So you could put Engine Master in a boat, get run and charge off, because obviously people inside the boat count as having made the move. So the people wouldn't be able to run. So the boat can't run and people inside can shoot. That can't happen. But this little guy, you could run.
It can happen. There's a trick.
Oh yeah, of course it is. This is KO. But yeah, so usually it wouldn't be allowed to happen. But then this little guy, you could do that trick you just said. So I really like it. Cool. Awesome. Right, so let's move on. So we're going to start talking about the engine works. Again, we'll kind of just pick our favourites, and yeah. So let's go for the Ironclad. So we've got, how's the many? There's 6 to choose from here. Makes sense. He's the biggest boat. What is your pick? I think it's going to be the exact same pick as me, and this will save a lot of time probably. But what would you say is your pick, Max?
No, I mean, people always went between Battle Ram and Last Word in the old book, but what I really like in the new book is the hull plates. Because the ability has changed. It's not +2 wounds, but it is the first wound allocated to this unit each phase. So your phases and your opponent's phases is negated. So basically the Manfred armor on a boat.
Yeah, I like that. I like a big flying Manfred.
This is very powerful. I love it with my Manfred. This is very good, especially on a very high wound boat. An Ironclad is very expensive. You don't want it to die. There's options to heal the boat end of phase, so you can build an indestructible Ironclad. So I think I really like that is a new. They didn't just copy the old rule, but it's a new one and it's a flavorful one, and it's very powerful. Having 2 wounds more or less, it didn't really matter. But this is strong, so you can potentially negate 20 wounds per game.
Yeah, no, for sure. Well, the good thing is we've already received the +2 wounds anyway. It's like they've slapped the engine work on. They've said every clad gets that standard now because we're up to 20 wounds, which is awesome. But yeah, no, really cool here. And you're right, they've not just phoned this in. Everything with this book, it feels like they've really put in thought and effort, which is great. But yeah, that's really cool. Negating the first wound every phase. So magic negate. Shooting negate, combat negate, love it.
Charge.
Charge. Yeah, of course. Yeah, if there's any kind of damage to that.
People, squigs running and dealing wounds. Yeah.
I like it. Yeah, I like it. There we go.
You can negate up to 5 wounds per turn.
Love it. Yeah. Very cool. So yeah, I think for me, I'm Battle Ram all day. If I'm taking a clad, and I don't see me taking double clad anymore. I think if I was taking a clad, I'm probably just going to go 1, and I'd rather have that one with a 3d6 Stonehorn charge just to get it in there and do some damage. Don't get me wrong, I think the Last Word is good. I think it can be used as a good deterrent. I used it. I loved using it in the last year. It saved. I think it basically won me a game. Like, it was able to rattle off a unit that charged it to try and get board position to take an objective off me. And the Last Word popped off, unleash hell as well, and the unit was gone. It's like, nice. So yeah, it definitely has work. And if you as you say, you want to keep this big boat alive, this goes a long way to keeping it alive. So no, very good. Cool. So let's go and move on to the frigate ones. Not as big a fan of the frigate ones. I have to say, there's probably
stay on canon with the old book. They're not exciting.
Not exciting.
Some of these are even bad.
Oh no, for sure. So. I think there's only one here that I would pick for a frigate. What about yourself? So what one would you pick, Max?
I'll tell you the one I definitely not pick to make it interesting.
Oh yeah, go for it.
Is the new one, the Khazar Farewell Scuttling Fail Safe, which is nothing about safe. Because if this unit is destroyed, so first thing, you need to have a unit to benefit from this rule. You lose your frigate, which is not a good trade-off.
Yeah.
Before you remove it from play and before any units embarked are disembarked, you roll a dice for each unit within 3 inches of this unit. Each unit. Doesn't say each enemy unit.
Yeah.
Each unit. So you roll for your own people inside before they disembark. And before you roll the ones if they die or not. On a 2+, that unit suffers D3 mortal wounds. Why?
Yeah.
I mean, yes, it's cool. It's similar to the Triumph where the Endron Master could blow up the ship, deal a few mortal wounds. But whenever did you do that? You never did, because you spent that command point or that Triumph on something else in that turn.
Of course.
And now you're dealing mortal wounds to yourself and the opponent, and it's nonsense.
Yeah. So yeah, doing damage. So as you say, you have to. You're basically betting on your own unit dying to get this thing to go off, which is not ideal. And then yeah, it then just causes damage to any of your stuff that was in range as well. So yeah, a double whammy of eh. So yeah, I agree. Do you think if they changed the wording, so say if FAQ came out and it said that it changed the wording to enemy unit, would you
No.
think it would see play even? No.
2 plus D3 mortal wounds is not worth your ship dying.
Yeah. No, agreed. Yeah, so then I guess it goes to the only pick, which is the magnificent Omniscope. And again, it might not seem like much, 2 inches extra movement, but it can do a lot here, because as we've kind of been talking the whole way through, you're adding on 2 inches with this. You could add on another 2 inches with an article. You can run 2d6. You can run 2d6 in charge with a reroll on the run. You can get a 3d6 charge on top of that as well. So you're just going places with this, and yeah, I think this is a very nice pick on the frigate for sure. And I think if I was to go frigate, either single or double or multiple, I think it would definitely be taking this on one of them for sure.
Yeah, I mean it will make the difference between can I tag someone to drop bombs and be outside the free or not.
Yeah.
So
No,
that can
absolutely.
make a big difference.
Love it.
Yep.
Cool. And then we go to little baby boat, gun hauler, and we've got 3 here. And yeah, so I think there's probably 2 here that I would look at. I'm definitely leaning more to one side than the other. But what's your thoughts on these, Max?
I mean, these are all more or less the same they used to be, but the collapsible compartment has got an update. It's now 6 Skyfarers, not 5. So you can put 6 balloons in there, which is awesome.
Which is
really
really
very speedy boat with a very small footprint.
Yeah, which is really cool. I think when you're looking at building your list, so I think I was originally looking at Barak Zon, and then again we'll touch on a lot of this stuff in a wee second anyway, and was looking at 2 frigates, but it's quite nice to see that you could go 1 frigate and 1 gun hauler. You could make frigate, which is your kind of maybe main combat boat, but then you can still stick 6 balloons, as you say, into this little gun hauler, and it can do similar things. It doesn't get the combat boat thing, but if you've got 1 boat with everything's all strike first, which is an ability we can get, which is pretty cool, and then if they all strike first, you can then go over to this little gun hauler that's charged with 6 balloons in it, and also then activate them as well, which is really cool. I also quite like the Debt Settler Spar Torpedo. Don't think this has changed at all. Oh no, it has changed, because it used to be
changed.
Yeah, it used to be a 2 up D6 roll, but now it's just 2 up, and whatever you roll is the number of mortal wounds.
So you'll do a minimum of 2 mortal wounds, and it saves you 1 roll, and it's a much more elegant rule.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Well done, rules writer. It's
good job.
A good improvement. Yeah.
Good job, James Workshop. So no, yeah, really like it. But yeah, the Coalbeard's collapsible compartment. Say that 10 times fast. Really like that. Right, so let's get into the skyports. This is where the fun happens. So we have 6 to choose from. We've got Barak Nar, Zilfin, Zon, Urbaz, Mornar, and Thring. So I'm wondering whether to limit you to 1 or 2 here, Max. Let's go for 1. What's your top pick? What's the one that you're finding when you're writing list that this is coming out on top?
So the top pick I'll pick most is Barak Nar.
Okay.
Because of one unit we'll see in a minute. The ability itself is not as spectacular. It is each of your start of your hero phase. For each hero on the board, you roll a dice, and a 4+, you get a command point.
Yep.
I mean, that's 3 or 4 command points extra. Each of your turn is very handy, since we need command points to do things with the boats. We need command points to reroll runs or charges, all out attacks, and so on. Awesome. So you got a couple of command points, and you don't care about that nasty spell, what's it called, from Luminef that makes you spend 2 command points.
Total Eclipse, yeah.
Total Eclipse, that's the one. So that's cool, but it's not the main reason I choose this. But I choose it because of the Barak Nar keyword that comes with it.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. And do I sense a Brock? Is there a Brock on
Yeah,
the horizon
it
here?
finally happened. It finally happened. He came out of the basement
It's
from the
so
pile of
exciting.
shame. I actually built him, and I still need to paint him.
Oh
He's
wow.
been collecting dust for 3 years.
Wow. Yeah.
He is good.
So good, so good that he's actually playable now, which is amazing.
Yep.
It's not only playable but good. I'm raging because I completely destroyed mine, clipped it all apart to make it into a Celestant Prime, a Dwarden Celestant Prime conversion. I was like, oh no, it's just
Yeah,
it's so
that what
cool.
happened to my
It's so
first
good.
one. This actually was the second one. Yeah.
Yes. But yeah, no, so really cool. Yeah, so extra CP, always good. As you say, there are certain things out there. And we're quite a CP heavy army anyway. We want to be
Yes.
using lots of command abilities. So the fact that we just get, we can get quite a lot more is pretty good. It also, yep, can negate things like your Total Eclipse, Lumineth, stuff like that, or anything else for stealing command points. It's pretty good as well. But yeah, the Baraknar keyword, it unlocks your Thunderers as battle line.
Yes.
Which is pretty cool. You don't have to take the command trait to get them. And then yes, we've got Brock, and he's got some pretty nice abilities as well, which we'll touch on. So no, I like that as a pick, Baraknar. For me, I'm then torn between two because I have a top three, and my top three are also Baraknar, Barak Zon, and I really like Barak Urbaz, man. I'm really liking them. For the two articles, purely because I've been running the 4-up rally and the +1 to wound article.
Yeah.
If you were to really kind of twist my arm, I think I would go Barracks on. +1 to hit and wound for all Skyfarer units that made a charge. So that's your riggers, your wardens, we'll make it easy. Everything that's not boats. Everything that's not a boat is a Skyfarer and gets +1 to hit and wound.
Yeah, so that's awesome.
It's so cool. And yeah, if you're running combat boats, and again we'll see when we touch upon them. So frigates and Barrack Zone, I think are pretty nuts because of the amount of combat ability you can get into that boat, plus some pretty tanky heroes as well that can also slap, and you can get things always striking first, and stuff like that. I think, yeah, I really like this ability.
Yeah.
Also unlocks Sky Wardens as battle line as well,
Yes.
which is nice. But yeah, so very strong ability. All of the Skyports, well, I say all, I think some of them. So Nar unlocks Thunderers as battle line, Zilfin is Frigates as battle line, Zon is Skywardens as battle line, Urbaz is Gunhaulers as battle line.
Yes.
Mornar, I don't think they unlock
nothing.
nothing. And then Barak Thring, also nothing. But yeah, I would say for me, I think Zilfin, Thring are a bit of a dud. I don't like the fact that Thring, everything rests on getting an allied priest, and you have to roll
I think
3 up.
Ring does have quite some power.
Oh, okay.
I think I always was a big fan of Ring because I play all my dwarves together, but there was the power to bring in Fire Slayers, and you had all these rerolls and exploding sixes. That was very powerful. And now what you get is an allied warded priest, so there's no more coalition units. It's just allied priest. They know this prayer in addition, and the prayer is a better version of curse, basically.
Yeah.
It's on a free range of 16, and it goes onto your unit, not the opponent's unit. It can only go on company, Arcana Company, or Thunderers. But if you want to play Thunderers and you are a bit sad about them only wounding on 4s, with this prayer, which gives you additional mortal wounds on 6s to hit, you don't care if you wound on a 4 out of 5. There's a lot of shots where you can get 6s to hit and you do the damage through mortal wounds. You don't need the heroes to stack extra rend on them, which you can do. You don't need the purple sun to stack extra rend on them. It's just massive bullets that you can throw at someone and say, yeah, I don't care about your 2-up save. It's just here, mortal wounds. So this is a very interesting way to circumvent that limitation that Thunderers have. I'm not sure if I value it so much on Arcanauts, because you need to get them in range, and then they might be outside of the 16-inch.
Yeah.
Since your allied priest cannot enter the boat.
Of course, yeah.
But I think there's play in it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very interesting thought. People say, "Oh, I need a priest," and then, I mean, a Rune Lord is already a very good ally with +2
Yeah.
to dispel and unbind. I think he costs 100 points at currently on a 25mm base. He's a Galician champion. It's very interesting. And Barak Mornar seems a bit odd. If the unit that issues, not receives, but the issues is within 12 inches on a 5-up, the command is not received, it still counts as being used, and the command point is lost. In a combat build, this is extremely powerful. A friend of mine, he's been playing this for a few games now, and he says it can screw up people badly. Because some units, they rely on a rally.
Mm-hmm.
They rely on all-out defense, all-out attack, inspiring presence, you name it. All of these are command abilities, and if on within 12 inches, even the people behind the front lines, that doesn't work. Like 5-up, no, command point's gone, nothing happens.
Yeah.
That can screw you.
No,
Hard.
no, 100%. Yeah. I've seen people, they're basically liking it to it's like a 1 in 3 chance that the person, is not getting all that defense in your shooting phase, so it's effectively getting an additional rend.
Exactly.
Kind of things like that. So no, I like it. I think the only thing that puts me off of Mornar and Thring is I'm historically a very risk averse player. And the fact I know I'm going to roll a 1 or a 2 on my prayer, and just not get a sub-faction, not get a sub-faction ability, and I know that I'm never going to roll 5-up on but yeah, I think you're absolutely right. There's definitely strengths there, and yeah, I think Monarch could, you roll in 5-ups, man. You could just completely.
We mentioned before, the burst range is great against Night Haunt. With this, they're never getting a 5-up ward unless they use a spell.
Yeah.
Because you roll a 5-up and
that's you
done. Don't.
Sure. So that makes the real dud then, Zilfin, which is you could take extra engine work.
And then extra engine work might sound good, but we've seen there's a command trait for that, or you can spend a battalion magnificent bonus 2 even.
Yeah.
So if you really need 4 engine works, sure, but no.
Nah.
You're probably gonna take artifacts.
No, for sure. But yeah, and I'm going to stand by Barak Arbaz. I've been really liking them. I think initially when I read the book, I was like meh, but now I have really seen the potential of those 2 articles.
It is good.
I quite like that. I've not quite ticked into gun haulers as the battle line. I've not really. Not really.
Yeah, maybe if you need the points for something else and you want to take gun hauler anyway.
Yeah.
But again, this shows there's options. I mean, we're here discussing it and we're saying, oh, there's 3 or 4 good ones. Awesome. No. Not everyone will play Zilfin.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, it's not just a one and done.
Everyone, no one will play Zilfin. Let's be honest.
There's just suffering from being too good again. Just get absolutely smashed.
It's the Hermlar curse. The same thing that happened to Hermlar.
For sure. Love it. Cool, right, so that takes us nicely on to Grand Strats and Battle Tactics. So, yeah, I get really quite cool here because there's I would probably say I quite like maybe 2 of the Grand Strats, and I think all the Battle Tactics are, apart from 1 maybe, I think all the Battle Tactics are pretty auto. For us, so that's awesome.
you Path of a Champion is going to be your new favorite battle plan to play because you can achieve 1 battle tactic the first turn and then the other 8 the next turns easily.
For sure, which is awesome. Which is awesome. But yeah, so let's talk about Grand Strats. So, what would be your pick for the Grand
it's
Strat?
the easiest one. Rule the skies. Have 1 sky vessel on the battlefield, so a gun hauler counts for this. And there are no enemy behemoths that can fly. Enemy behemoths that can fly. There's not that many. There's
No.
Ironclads, frigates.
Yeah.
Okay, so those in the mirror. There's I think a Star Drake can fly and is a behemoth.
Mhm.
I know that the Storm Drakes are not behemoths. Marathi is not a behemoth. Archeon is a behemoth. So there's
Yeah,
another
I was
one.
gonna say Archeon, yeah.
And then I'm starting to struggle to find flying behemoths.
No, for sure. So
I don't know.
so yeah, I like this and the fact that you kind of hit the nail on the head. You could just pay 170 points, stick a gun hauler, and just keep it safe for the rest of the game.
Yep.
It's just
Put a jerk on it, stick it in the corner.
Yeah, cool.
Let it do its thing.
And then just yeah, you can pretty much get this. The what was I playing? Oh, I played a list recently. I was up at Brewdog in Aberdeen, Ellen, and it was Brewhammer, and there was a guy running 6 Terrorgeists in Feck, and this is that. I think that's the only thing I can think of that that could be a real solid counter to this Grand Strat.
But you can kill those. I mean,
But
4
yeah,
saves.
but that's the thing. It's just survive. But yeah, no, really cool. So rule the skies.
Yeah, the
very
dragons.
nice.
Yeah, death dragons are behemoths on fly. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And mock crushes.
Yes, small crushes. Yeah, which used to be, which can be an issue now. As you were saying, we can't get the quarter move on a thing anymore. But yeah.
I mean, they still move around on a a supper plate. So
yeah, for sure. And I think we've got quite a wee bit more output these days to be able to lift some more crushers. I think so. So yeah, that's not bad. And then yeah, the only other one I quite liked was Guided by the Code. Which was complete the Grand Strat if you complete Release 4. So it's kind of like there's a lot of similar ones in other books, like in Fire Slayers they've got it as well. And yeah, you can just do 4 battle tactics. I think the only reason I wouldn't go for this is because there could be times when you really just want to do Desecrate or Cunning Maneuver and things like that, and those ones that you maybe be taken as an auto, then it takes you out of this Grand Strat. But I think there's definitely play there. The old classic of Take What's Theirs, I think, has still got play from the GHB as well, because you've got.
It's a bit more difficult because you cannot just fly high.
Yeah.
2 boats into your opponent's territory last turn,
yeah.
But it's still achievable.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
For sure.
There's a few interesting ones. I mean, Prospect your fleet. The only thing I don't like is that your opponent picks the terrain piece.
Yeah.
So you could pick one, obviously, that either is his terrain piece where he doesn't want you to go anyway, or but it can be very easily achievable.
Yeah.
And defend the flagship is basically rule the skies, but just a bit more difficult with more words.
Yeah.
So
no, I don't like that. I think there's too many gates to get through for that one. I don't. There's
like two free that you can easily achieve, and that's good.
Yeah, no, for sure. Just before we talk about the battle tactics, Martinez in chat saying Zulfin is the only way to be 1-drop with 2 boats, and yeah, that's true. That is true.
2 boats? No. If 1 boat is a gun holder.
Sorry. Yes. But 2. If it's 2 big boats, yes. Yeah.
Yep.
For sure.
It is.
Yeah. So
it is. That is true. It is true. If you want to go 1-drop, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
But again, I think it's something that you can definitely tick into the 1-drop. But again, KO I think can still do really well in the game of where they don't care about drops as well, which I really quite like. Right, battle tactics then. So there is pretty much just take your pick really. So bomb and run. You have to kill something with the bomb rack's ability of a friendly unit. That's a bit swingy, but still doable.
It is, but it's much more achievable than it used to be.
For sure. Oh no, 100%,
because you can, you can fly over 1 boat. Okay, there's 2 wounds left. You fly over the next boat. If there's like, that unit, that screen unit that has 2 models left.
Yeah.
You're gonna fly over it anyway to kill it. Sure, done.
Yeah,
battle tactics.
exactly.
Thank you.
Pick your
easy.
That one. Yeah, no, for sure. Mobilize the fleet. We've had this in the last. We had this in the White Dwarf update. Can't pick it in the first battle round, but from then onwards, pick 3 friendly units to the battlefield that are not embarked in sky vessels, and you just get them all in. Get them all in the boat.
Much easier now because you can move to the ship and then get in.
Yep.
That before you had to set it up. So okay, last turn, if I want to need it, I need to these 3 units, run them 2 in the middle, put the ship here, so the last turn I can still get in and do it.
Yep.
So much more easy now.
Yep. Much more achievable. Good. Boots on the ground, pretty much the exact opposite. 3 units are in boats. Get them out the boats. So.
And be in enemy territory.
Oh, sorry, yes. Wholly within enemy territory as well. And then we've got opening salvo. I like this inclusion. So you can only pick this if no units have been destroyed. So this is a great turn 1 thing if you've got first, or if you've given first and your opponent's not killed anything of yours, you could just pick this and you just need to kill an enemy unit in the shooting phase, which I feel like KO should be able to do. They should be able to do that.
This is a good first turn pick. You're gonna shoot a screen, and it's an enemy unit. You don't have to pick the unit.
You have to pick.
Just oh, I'm gonna shoot this and this, and one will die hopefully.
Yeah. Yep, sure. And you've got so much play here because it could be your entire army. Like you don't have to pick the enemy unit to kill. You don't have to pick any one of your unit that's going to kill that enemy unit. It's just cool. I'll put some shots from this unit into that. Oh, it's not killed it yet. That's fine. I've still got some shots over here that I can finish that unit off and and you can easily sprinkle the damage on here and do that. So love it. Blast them to smithereens. Also really like pick an objective in the battlefield within 12 of enemy units. You just have to kill them off of it. Basically, have no enemy units within 12 of that objective at the end of this turn.
Yeah.
So just
it doesn't have to be your objective. It can be their home objective.
Yeah.
Oh, that unit is within 12 of. I mean, 12 inches is halfway to the next objective. You just pick this one, shoot that unit. Oh, you're not within 12 of the objective anymore. Easy.
Yeah.
Easy peasy. They might FAQ this one, like, oh, you need to control it or something.
All right, okay.
It seems a bit too easy, I think.
Yeah, that could be good, but again, I still think even with that caveat, I think nice. And then last one, stake a claim. This is very similar to the Fire Slayers, is that right?
Yes, it
we've
is.
got this one, yeah. So you just pick it. You can only pick it if you control fewer objectives than your opponent. At the end of your turn, just hold more. And this game is all about holding more. So if you've it's just a very much kind of a thing. You can either set this up on turn 1, right? Because you could start with nothing on any objectives. And then because you check for objective control at the start of the very first battle round, and then if your opponent's sitting on 1 and you're not sitting on any, technically you hold fewer, and then you just need to grab 2, and then you're good.
Yeah, you're home and 1 more. Yeah.
There's multiple ways to get this one. Just an awesome selection of battle tactics that you can just do, and so you're obviously not as beholden to the GHB battle tactics as well, and then also not as beholden to the Galician champion based ones. Also, you've got all these to choose from. It feels like a bit like Doc, really. They've got all their battle tactics that they can just complete, and
Yeah, these are achievable, and we still have 3 or 4 from the GHB, which are super. I mean, eye for an eye. You can almost always do a desecrate. You can do a gaining momentum, a cunning maneuver, even a united offense. Do a combat landing with 2 heroes.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah. No, for sure.
They're all achievable.
All very achievable.
Which I think is one of the reasons why we've seen KO do much better since last summer, because battle tactics with the White Dwarf update became achievable.
Yeah, for sure. No, love it. Helps you play the game, helps you get the points and win the game. So cool. So that's that done. Are we okay just to skip past core battalions?
Yeah, they're rubbish.
Perfect. Nice. Perfect. Yeah, hate them. So don't bother, guys. You've got Battle Regiment, you've got Command Entourage, you've got Warlord, you've got Galician Command, you've got Sharpshooters, you've got all you could ever need from the GHB. I wouldn't waste your time with those ones. No. So this takes us on to our War Scrolls. So let's talk about your fave, Mr. Brock Grungson, Lord Magnate of Barak Nar, and finally gets his time in the sun off the shelves, collecting the dust. Talk to me about why this is the guy.
Why is this the guy? It's basically a few reasons. We've seen some changes. He's much easier to play now because he has less combat profiles and shooting profiles. It's just 2 missile weapons and 1 melee weapon.
Yeah.
which we've seen with a few of these units. It makes it easier, makes it less things you need to roll. He is a War Master if in Baraknar. Awesome.
Yeah, awesome.
So 18-inch command ability range, which comes in handy in a bit. His mustache, Ether Blasters, is now just a mortal wound ability, end of combat. No, end of combat after he fought. So if he didn't kill the unit, there's another chance to deal D3 mortal wounds.
Nice.
It's a bonus. It's nice. Okay.
That's cool.
But the real deal is the first rule of Grongson is if this unit made a charge move, you can add +1 to attacks of melee weapons by friendly Skyfarers, Baraknar Skyfarers, and this is why I chose Baraknar as my favorite one, because it only works on Baraknar Skyfarers, sadly. They all get +1 attack while they're wholly within 12. It doesn't matter if they charge or not. Just he needs to charge, and then he has this 12-inch bubble. Everyone gets +1 attack on melee profile. So he himself will always get 5 attacks if he charges with his saw.
Yeah,
that's pretty powerful on its own. But we'll see later. There's units that will really benefit from this. And I also like his command ability, command the fleet. You can pick up to 3 sky vessels that are outside of combat within 18 inches, since he's the War Master in Baraknar. And they can reroll run rolls, and they can run and shoot and or charge.
Awesome.
So it's 3 ships now that can run and shoot and charge and reroll the run roll.
So good.
Very
so
powerful.
Good, for sure.
For a 220 points investment.
Yep, 220 points, 3 up save, 8 wounds. As you say, War Master, so he's getting you your general CP as well, if general dies as well, which is awesome, because I think that you're probably going to want to pick an admiral as your general pretty much every time. So yeah, really like this. Yeah, +1 attack is so good, and that big bubble, and then yeah, getting up to 3 ships, run and shoot, charge. Even if you just take 2. So I think to get the most out of this ability, I think you would want to take a minimum of 2 ships. Or maybe 2 frigates.
Yes, and interesting, this ability also works in other skyports because it's not keep.
Yes, exactly. So you could take this guy.
There is play in taking him in Bargzon, for example. He will not get the +1 to hit and wound, but he will get his +1 attack, which balances it out more or less. It comes down, I think, statistically to almost the same.
Okay.
But you can use the run and shoot and charge in other skyports from him.
Yeah.
Still very good.
Which is awesome.
And he's decent in shooting and combat.
No, for sure, yes. I mean, he's got carbines, 6 carbine shots, 3's -1, 2 damage. He's got that 1 shot, 3's 2's -2.
One sky cannon shot.
3. Yeah, sky cannon. It's cool, man. Love it. Yeah. So yeah, really cool. Yeah, when I initially saw the book leaks, I immediately wrote a Barrack Zone list with this guy and 2 frigates, just to at least, I think it was 2, just to get the run and charge on both of them, stocked up with balloon boys and just firing them on in. Really liked it. So cool, awesome, lovely to see him, and it'll be good to see him on the table. Let's go on and talk about the real hero, the Arcanaut Admiral. This guy, he just does so much for you in your lists. I played Tzeentch the other night there, and they spell portaled and took off my Admiral in turn 1, and I was so sad, Max, because I couldn't do any of the things that he does. Which was just, I was like, oh, such a sad face. But yeah, he's doing loads. So this guy, if you make him your general, he can then pick a ship to be your flagship. So it can either be an Ironclad or a frigate. And then once per turn, he can issue a command to its flagship without a command point being spent, which is awesome. So we're a very CP heavy army, so that just allows you to not need to spend the CP, which is so cool.
Yeah, and we've seen the Iron Sky fleet commands need an admiral or a ship. Yeah. Now he can do it for free, once per turn.
which is perfect. Just such good saving of assets and your currency. Then we've got Grudgebreaker rounds. So this is actually kind of like a throwback to his old scroll, his updated scroll from White Dwarf. He's kept this. It's once per battle, at the start of your shooting phase, pick a friendly KO unit that's not a sky vessel. Doesn't work on sky vessels. Wholly within 12 of him until the end of that phase. Improve the rend characteristic of that unit's missile weapons. You can't stack multiple admirals onto the same unit, but it's okay because you can just put this guy and the chemist on as well, which we'll talk about in a wee second. But yeah, an additional Pippa Rend is awesome, and we'll see there's some units. There's a shooting unit that really benefits from this, which is very cool. He's got another ability called Bring Every Gun to Bear. So use this command ability to start your shooting phase. The unit receives this command must be a friendly sky vessel, and it is more than 3 inches from all enemy units. Okay, good. You have to be outside combat. It had to remain stationary in the preceding movement phase and did not receive fly high, so there's that caveat there. And you add 1 to the attacks characteristic of that unit's missile weapons to the end of that phase. I'll be honest, I don't see me using this ever.
Yeah, there's a nice trick because the caveat doesn't cover Fleet Master. So you move your ship 12 inches or 10 inches in case of an Ironclad forward to be in weapon range for your next turn when you know you'll have the next turn, and then you use this command ability for free since it's flagship, and you say, oh, I'm not going to move, I'm not going to fly high, I'm nothing, I'll just get an extra shot.
Get an extra shot, yeah. And this is quite nice because also something, say for example like an Ironclad, you've got a good number of shots anyway, but I think the real juice is if you go the 2 shots with the cannon, getting that up to 3 is actually quite a nice, very nice buff up there.
And then changing to the amendment where you can reroll 1.
Yeah.
With the code right. So yeah, there's some tricks
for sure
available.
Yeah. No, definitely. And then his last command ability that I really like, this one, Command the Skies. You use it at the start of your movement phase. It has to be a sky vessel more than 3 inches from enemy units again, but it can reroll run rolls and it can run, shoot, and charge. So like a mini Brock basically. So he does it for...
it's Brock, but for 1 unit.
Does it for 1 ship instead. So yeah, if you're not running multiple ship builds, you've just maybe taken the one. I think this guy can do the job as well. Which is pretty cool. Or you could perhaps fly high with 1 ship and then you could stick run and charge on another with this guy's ability as well, which is nice. So yeah, I'm loving the Admiral. He just does work. 125 points for his 6 wounds and 3 up save, and he does a lot for you. So I think you'll see this guy.
His pistol now actually wounds on a 3, not on a 4 anymore. So that's an improvement. The 125 points is basically his old points before the winter FAQ, and I assume this is because the book was written maybe in summer when it was printed. So yeah, might go up, might go down. He lost a few abilities. Maybe it's the right points for him. I don't know. They will probably get rid of the 5 since that's the theme. They did.
True, that's true. Yeah.
So either 130 or 120. One of those.
Yeah. Pray for the 120. Cool. So that's the Admiral. We then move on to, so we've got another unique boy. We've got Drecky Flint. Now I'll be honest, I'm not a fan. What's your thoughts on this boy?
I'm a fan of the books. I enjoyed reading them, but he was bad, especially bad in comparison to Kado Ezekiel, the Soulblight hero. They released at the same time, who is really good. He's fun. You can do fun stuff with him. In Barak Monar, he can steal artifacts. He can borrow artifacts, sorry. But nah, I don't think you'll see much play in competitive lists.
No. Agreed. Looks really cool. Awesome model. Very, very
if you like him, get the model. Check out his rules for yourself.
For sure.
If you think.
I think he'd make a cool admiral as well. To be fair, but yeah, I think. Really, I'll pass on him. Now we're going to carry on to the next hero, Code Right. I've got on here. So the new boy in town, the new kid on the block. Now I'll be honest. I can see his strengths. I can. I've not had him in any of my lists. But what about you? Is this guy being an auto include for you? There's a lot of people hot on him, Max.
No, surprisingly, I like his ability, but he's not an auto-include. He has two things that he brings to you, or three things. One is the fun thing that he actually carries a Battletome to combat, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool Easter egg, I think. He's a decent hero, 5 wounds, free up save. I like that all the foot heroes now have a free up save. I think except the chemist who's still running around on 4-up. But before we had the Iron Master and foot had 6 wounds, but 4-up, and the other had 5, and they were all different.
Yeah.
Now they're all more like streamlined, so I appreciate that. Two things he gives you: start of hero phase if he's next to a other hero. He rolls 2 dice on a 4-up. You receive 1 command point. So basically, on average, you receive 1 command point extra. Not so important if you're playing Bargnar, since you're already getting all these 4-up command points. But the thing, we've seen this in the community article already a few weeks back. When he can carry out a heroic action, he can choose his own one. Search for precedent. You roll a dice. On a 1, nothing happens. On a 2 or 3, you can change your footnote, which are once per battle use. So this is very interesting if you want to get use of all your rules, especially if you want to change between 2. So you want to get the charge. And if we use that, this gives you an option to get something else, an extra rule, more use. And if you roll a 4-up, you can change this and the amendment, but you cannot reuse something you already chose. And this is a bit annoying since maybe you chose on your list 1 footnote, you didn't use it, and you go for something else, then you cannot go back to the one you originally chose.
Yeah.
So you need to pay a bit of attention what you actually choose on your list. And it's swingy, a 4-up to change your amendment. Can happen, cannot happen. I don't like that it's a heroic action. I'd rather have this as an ability because there's other good heroic actions you could do. Heroic willpower is one I often use with KO.
Yeah.
He's 90 points, so pretty cheap. You want some heroes for your battalions anyway to unlock more artifacts, whatnot. But he's not an auto-include for me, no.
Good. Okay. Yeah, good to know. So yeah, good strong ability. As I said,
It's cool.
I'm not particularly hot on him. I don't think. I mean, very cool model. Look at that boy there. I'm not hugely hot on him, as I say. I'm kind of okay with the 1 and done footnote. Usually I've just been taking the 3d6 charge, and then from then on, I've not been finding much use out of being able to do 2 command abilities onto the 1 ship, which is the natural one I would probably switch over to. Don't get me wrong, I think the other footnote we didn't really touch on, which was at the end of the shooting phase, if a unit has been shot at, they can then shoot back. The reason for that is because I just feel like the power projection in the game that right now is nuts, and usually if a unit's been targeted in the shooting phase, it's probably dead, because they have to last the entire shooting phase. But it does work against certain lists that maybe they've only got a little bit of plink shooting damage, which could then trigger it.
Some units that need to shoot you to get some kind of effect.
Yeah.
It's interesting. You don't need to shoot the unit that shot you.
Yes, you can.
You can shoot at any unit in range. So this can be. You can play this a bit defensively. So yeah, if you go here, I'll shoot my boat. Might not kill it because I can do my repairs and healing. But then I'm gonna shoot at your other unit over here, which definitely doesn't want to get shot at. Then it's gonna charge me. I'm gonna shoot it again with only shell, and then I'm gonna use last word to shoot it again. So I'm gonna shoot you 3 times. Your unit's gonna be dead.
That could be a very scary headspace for someone.
It's interesting. It gives you an extra shooting turn for your boat. You get more out of your shooting.
Yeah, for sure. So, but yeah, and obviously with the code right, if you've taken the 3d6 charge, you can then swap to that after the fact as a heroic action, which is pretty powerful. As you say, 90 points for this ability. Yeah, I think he's good. You could definitely take him in lists.
It's a flexibility between the other two. Let's be honest. The 3d6 charge and using 2 command points on a ship. So if you look at the board and say, okay, I need the charge now. you swap over to charge, or you say, oh no, I'd rather have the fly high and then combat disembark. You can do that.
Yeah, which is cool. Cool, so new boy, done. So let's go through. So we've got Engine Master on foot, and we have Aether Chemist. I like both of these guys. I think the Engine Master, I think it's pretty clear what his, well, for me anyway, his biggest value for me is the fact that he heals a flat 3 onto the Sky
so
Vessel.
Much better.
Which is awesome. I've not used his ability to operate on top damage roll. So he's got an ability. So at the start of your hero phase, if he's embarked and he hasn't used his heal on a 2-up, he can make the ship take D3 mortal wounds, and then it operates on top roll. Now this is only kind of really beneficial either for, so the clad, you could make its movement go back up if it was degraded. You could get its bomb racks back up if it was degraded, which could be pretty clutch as well. But I've not used it yet, but it's good to have that option there. But the fact that he's just healing a flat 3 start of every hero phase, he's also pretty tanky hero, 6 wounds, 3 up save, and he's got a damage 3 hammer as well. I've seen him, I've used him in quite a few lists, and he's just a nice piece to have, I feel.
Yeah, the main reason I think people use him is he unlocks Ender Riggers as battle line.
Oh yeah, didn't even touch on that. Yeah, exactly.
For 90 points, and chucking a hero that's healing your boat, giving you top row for your bombing rolls, your ramming rolls with a frigate, and the movement actually to get there to do both. And yeah, he's decent in melee. I mean, 3 attacks, only 1 rend, but 3 damage flat.
Yep.
Sure, why not? 90 points.
Absolutely.
And you can get +5 bomblets.
That's true. Yeah, I like that.
So and you won't see him in every list, but if you want to get engine riggers in 9s, he's a good cheap option for that.
For sure. Yeah, good pick. Aether Chemist, really like this guy, and I'm taking him for extra rend basically. So he's got his etheric augmentation at the start of your shooting phase. If this unit is not embarked, so he cannot be in a boat, and he has to pick a friendly Skyfarer's unit that's also not embarked, so can't be on a boat. Wholly within 12 inches of this unit, you improve the rend characteristic of that unit's missile weapons by 1 until the end of the phase. So it only works on shooting. But yeah, I've been finding this guy very useful. I've been taking him with a Tunnel Master as aspect of the champion, and I've been basically just shooting him off to buff my big unit of Thunderers that I've been bridging. That is a very, very nice little combo, and you can stack the Admiral's rend onto that unit as well. Yep. So you can get Thunderers on -2, -3, -4 rend on a whole slew of different weapon profiles, which I think is that's the biggest reason I'm taking this guy is for that ability.
And because he carries your spell on a bottle.
And because indeed he's also he has to. You have to take this guy to get the spell on the bottle. Yeah, for sure. So for that combo, so he's just if you're running that combo, he's a must take. And then the atmospheric isolation. He's kept this from his last one, from his last scroll. If you're within 3 inches of him, it's a nice one to hit. He has to not be embarked. So yeah, pretty cool.
He's interesting. He's more or less the same from tax wise. It's an extra rend you can get each turn, not just the Admiral as it used to be once per game, but each turn if he's next to a gun line, if that's the place that you like, awesome. If you like spell bottle, then obviously you need him, but I don't think he's a must, because you can have, we'll see, engine riggers who have base -2 rend on the shooting, so you can save on those points, but absolutely a very, very valuable hero.
Yeah, I like this. And yeah, Liam McDonald in the chat, he has quite rightly said that this guy received his day 1 FAQ.
Quick quickest FAQ we've seen in a while.
So this ability, rules as written, could be stacked. It cannot be stacked. It'd be an FAQ, so you can't stack. So you're not getting -5 rend.
Yeah.
You know, an additional -5 or -6 on things. So yeah. But yeah, still a really good ability. I love this guy. I've got Bjorgen Thundrick and Thundrick's Profiteers. This is our Warhammer Underworld. I would pass on this. What's your thoughts here, Max?
Yeah. I mean, I've used the model since day one as my chemist because he's the cooler looking chemist.
Very cool.
But the kit, if you can find it, if you can get it, buy it because it's a cheap version to get an alternative chemist. You get an extra Thunderer for your weapon options. You get an extra Sky Warden and 2 extra Arcanauts if you don't use Sky Pikes in your unit. So I get use out of all of them for the price of a single hero. And that's all you need to know about them.
Perfect. Love it. Yeah,
I play him every game, but not as Thundrick.
Yeah, he's really cool. Yeah, I've got the exact same model as well, and he is. You're right, much cooler chemist. Right, then we've got Endramaster dirigible suit, and yeah. So I've not been using this guy in any of my lists yet. He's 170 points, 12-inch move. Yeah, 12-inch move, 8 wins, 3 up save. It's the 170 for me, man. It's the 170.
Yeah, he's expensive, but again, unlocks engine riggers, and if you can spare the points, he is a very good Galician champion. He has 8 wounds and a 3 up save, 12-inch move, so he can do your cunning maneuvers. He can go and actually kill an enemy Galician champion with his saw attacks.
The fact that he adds +1 to the heal rolls of your riggers as well.
Yeah. So he can still heal flat free, as he always used to, which is the reason you took him in the old book instead of the debrief of the other guy. And he adds 1 to the engine riggers repair roll, which we'll see in a minute, and that makes the repair roll much more reliable.
Yeah.
Much more effective. So I think he does have play, but I agree he's maybe not your number 1 hero pick.
Yeah, but yeah, really nice, and again, really cool model as well.
But he's one of the new ones. Yeah,
awesome. So yeah, Endramaster.
I say new. He's more than 3 years old now.
New for some things. Yeah, Skaven players are all crying right now. But yeah, so then we've got the Etheric Navigator. So let's talk about this boy. So we used to see this guy ran quite a lot back in the old book lists. The ability to shut down flying things was really, really clutch with him. It was awesome. You could double this guy up, as you said. You could quarter move something. It was horrendous and it was amazing. But now we've got a slightly different ability. So we have his Read the Winds. So in your hero phase, you can say that we'll use this ability. Then you roll 6 dice. Then you can choose what side of the ability you're going to do. So you can either do Aetherstorm, which is for every 1 that you've rolled, you pick different enemy units within 30 inches invisible to the unit. They suffer D3 mortal wounds. If they take the mortal wounds and don't negate them, then they're half move. So multiple half moves across several units.
Any kind of unit. Doesn't need to be a flying unit now. Any unit. And this is extremely powerful. If we think back to the command trait Stormcaller, I can re-roll any of those 6 dice. You roll, you see, I've got 2 ones. Re-roll the other 4. There's another one. Now there's 3 units with half move.
Yeah.
Oof,
awesome.
Awesome. This is so strong.
So cool. And then he's got his favourable conditions. So instead, if you don't want to do the ones to half move because you're a crazy person, but you want to do the other one, because it could mean that you don't roll any ones at all.
You roll and you already see 2 6s. Exactly. You might go for the other ones. Yeah.
Exactly.
Or you don't roll any ones. Yeah. Then you take the other
I played this guy the other night there, and again rolled the 6 dice, rolled 2 6s, no 1s. And I went, okay, cool. So I'm going to have to pick this one. And yeah, for each roll of a 6, you pick a different sky vessel within 30 of the unit invisible, and that sky vessel can make a normal move of D3 plus 3 inches, and you roll for each sky vessel. So am I right in saying here that you can get your ships? You get these guys out of combat with this move?
Can make a normal move. No, retreat is not a
So it
normal move anymore.
has to good. So because they've separated normal move, run, and retreat.
Yeah, they did that with 3rd edition. Yeah.
Good. Because they've separated that, then there's no overriding here. You couldn't say, well, it says I can do a normal move. It's like, well, no, technically that's a retreat move.
Yeah, you can do a normal move, but a retreat is different from a normal move.
Cool.
No, this is great because it happens in the hero phase.
Mm-hmm.
So it moves your ship forward up to 6 inches, which moves your chemist up 6 inches, who has a spell bottle. So it increases the range of your spell by 6 inches.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I like that. Yeah.
So this is maybe an option if you want to still use the Purple Sun. Or another rend, so get your thunders up to 4 rend or even 5 rend on some weapons to get an additional 6 inches on the effective range. You can then combo that with a Fleet Master, so the prior turn you already moved your Ironclad 10 inches. Now you move it another 6 inches, and that's how you actually get the sun where you want it. Yep. But it's hard to set up. But yeah, his ability is you're gonna use most of the times you're gonna use it for the enemies. Although you are limited to attempt this with one friendly unit with this ability. So you cannot have one navigator do one, and the other one then try the other one. Which means you probably not gonna take more than one navigator in your list, unless you value his Dispel and Unbind ability that much.
Which he did keep again from his old scroll. Yep, so he can Dispel and Unbind, strong, same as a wizard. He's also the only one that can take your Voidstone Orb artifact as well, for the auto Unbind as well. So yeah, I really like this guy. But no, I like that pick. Max is like a pseudo Zilfin pre-game thing, Purple Sun trick that we used to have.
It's much more complicated, but it works.
The big brain version. Cool. And then I think that's us for heroes, mate. So we're on to normal units. So you've still got your classics. We've got our classic Arco, we've got our Thunderers, and we have our 2 flavors of Balloon Boys as well. So we'll very quickly touch on all of these. So Arco, they're pretty much exactly the same. The pistols are still 9-inch range. They're still 2 attacks and 4s and 4s. The volley gun, however, has changed slightly. It's 15-inch range. It's 2d6 attacks now with 4s and 4s, but they've lost the rend. There's no more rend here on the
at least a hit on a 4 now,
yeah, which is nice. We've still got the light sky hook, 15-inch range, which I believe is different. It used to be a longer range.
Yeah, it used to be 18.
Used to be 18. Okay, so lost some range, but still 4s, 3s, -2 d3 damage. We've got, and then you can take different flavors of pistols for the Champ Aether Flare, and we've got the volley pistol as well. And then melee weapons. This is where it gets a bit spicier. Sky pikes. Hello. 2-inch reach, 3 attacks, 3s, -1, 2 damage. So I've been loving my wee sky pikes in my packs of 10 Arco for these guys. They've actually been doing something in combat. Like, I say something, like 2 damage or something, 2 or 4 damage is not bad. They used to have an ability which is if they were wholly within, I believe it was 9 of an objective, they get +1 to hit. Now it's just, while they're not embarked, you add 1 to hit rolls for attacks made by this unit that target a unit contesting an objective. So I quite like this. I feel like there's lots of opportunities where you've got enemy units contesting objectives. Doesn't say controlling, it just says contesting, where you could get +1 to hit here. And yeah, the light sky hook is flat 3 damage if it's a monster. So I feel like for me, the reason I'm taking these guys is because I just need some little 100-point screens that can also play the game. It's just either deck chair set an objective, or I can use them in an annoying way to make them double bodies on objectives with my amendment. So yeah, what is that? Pretty much the same read for you?
Yeah, they do what they always did. I used to play them as a damage dealer, a block of 20 with all the buffs and rerolls. That's not possible anymore. So I think they're reduced now to chaff. They're a screen. They can help with capturing, and they are your only generic battle line.
Yes. Yeah.
So you'll see at least 1 unit per army, I think. 1 or 2, because you want.
You're struggling. Yeah, you're definitely not struggling for battle line in this book. But yeah,
Yeah, not anymore.
they're good. Yeah, they're good just to have. Then I'd like to touch on the Thunderers. Oh baby, I am loving these guys now. Initially, when I saw the scroll come out, I was super sad because I saw that they still would not 4s with the rifles, and I was just like, oh. And with obviously the loss of Aether Gold, I'm not getting the +1s every time. I'm just like, oh jeez. But I have came back into love with them. Because of everything we're about to talk about just now. So, you can take all the same weapon mixes last time. So for every 5, one of them can have a Fumigator, one can be a Deck Sweeper, one can be an Aether Cannon, one can be a Grundstock Mortarer. We've got different ranges on those. So the Fumigator's Deck Sweeper and Aether Cannon, the Fumigator and Deck Sweeper, so they're 12-inch range, and you've got 18-inch range on everything else. The rifles and deck sweepers have been done on 4s. Everything else is 3s or 2s for the one-shot cannon, which is quite nice. And they've got mixtures of rend. So there's 2 at no rend, 2 at 1 rend, 1 at 2 rend for the cannon, and a flat 3 damage on that. Everything else is 1 damage. Now, where I feel like we're getting a lot of juice here is if you're able to take a block of 15 of these guys, fully mixed, kitted out weapons, they can put out 49 shots, if I've done my maths correctly. Max. So here's my maths. I could be wrong. So I've got 15. So the Grundstock Mortar, which has seen I think it's seen quite a wee bit of a glow up.
Yeah, finally he's got some water range.
Exactly. Yeah, go to 18 now. So this thing gets the number of attacks equal to the number of models in the enemy unit to a max of 5. Okay. So you end up reading that message, you read that sentence, getting super excited, and then going, oh, but I think it's still okay. So say you're shooting into a unit that has 5 models. Cool, they get 5 attacks each, so 3 times size, 15. You've got the Deck Sweepers, they're 5 shots each, so it's another 15, but at 30. 3 from the Aether Cannons, which can do work, by the way. The 3 Aether Cannon shots have been doing
damage 3.
Damage 3, pretty nice, okay. So we're at 33. The Fumigators can be D6 shots each that auto hit within 12-inch range. So we've got flamers now, yes, for the fumigators. So that'll average out at about 10 hits. So we're at 53, not 53, sorry, 43. And then the Aether Shot rifles, you get 2 shots each. There's 3 guys with them, but then the champ can have 2. So what's that? 8. So 43%. No, so we're at 51 now. And that's just based on the average from the fumigator. So you could spike that roll and get even more. But that's 51 average shots. You could be hitting on 2s, wounding on 3s and 2s, because you can get +1 to wound either from a Triumph or from the Settle the Grudges article, at a mixture of Rend 2, Rend 3 and Rend 4 against an enemy unit. That is a lot.
It's a lot of dice to roll.
It's a lot of dice to roll, yeah.
But it always has been.
Yeah.
As you said, you can max out the number of attacks with this. And now, think back to what we said, that Frink Prayer. You're rolling 51 shots.
Yeah.
Each 6 is a mortal wound in addition.
Yeah. But that does involve me rolling a 3-up, Max. And I told you, it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. If I could
sit next to a mystical terrain.
If I could maybe get mystical, I could still roll the 1. But no, it's fine. But yeah, no, you're right. Like, I think, imagine that.
It is. Wow.
Imagine.
It's a lot of damage you can put out. What they did, they simplified a bit the range. I think that was one of the critiques for the old book. Generally, there was too much rolling involved for some units. You kept on rolling, and now this profile and that profile and this different ranges. Now it's like 12, 15, 18. The Deck Sweepers and the rifles you can roll together because it's the same profile.
Yeah, exactly.
That sort of thing, yeah.
Which is cool, yeah. But yeah, I really like these guys. I've used them to pretty good effect. My highlight for them was where they opened up and lifted 6 Vanguard on a 2-up save. Or maybe not the full pack, but at least I think they lifted at least 5.
Did you add to Rend?
Yes, that was with Admiral Rend, Chemist Rend, the +1 to wound, Settle the Grudges on them as well, and then just open up with Bridge. And that's
scary.
That's pretty scary. Nice. Yeah, when I ran the stats on them, when it was on the when it was on the average number of shots, I think they averaged something like 23 damage on a 2-up save against a 2-up save.
Yeah, they can do work. I know Alex has been playing a lot of them now recently.
Yeah, I've seen. Yeah, he's running the 215s. 215s.
2 times 15 is scary.
Yeah.
I think the biggest improvement is the free up save.
100%. I could not agree more. The 3-up save has made these guys so much tankier. These again I played recently and they survived about 5 or 6 rounds of combat with a Kronspine. Purely because the Kronspine kept eating in the spells and surviving, getting its levels up. But yeah, these guys were super tanky. Again, if you've got the 4-up rally on these and you're able to remove from combat and then rally back, like you're just
Absolutely.
getting 2-win models from 3-up saves, and then they just keep blasting, and it's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah.
Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, no, so the other thing I was going to say was the thing that I was really enjoying was the suppressing fire as well, which we can read out just now. It's like a paragraph. It's like a novel.
Yeah, it's a very complicated rule to do.
Yeah, but basically, it's but bear with me, guys. It's a 2d6 roll against an enemy unit's bravery, but don't switch off yet because you add the number of wounds that you cause to that unit as well. And then you roll it. So again, it's maybe just kind of a bit of kind of bias between anecdotal bias, because these guys were just making the Kronspine -1 to hit every time they shot it as well. But again, if they're going into a big beefy unit, I don't know, like a unit of 9 trogs or those hoppers we were talking about, which they probably don't care. They'll just do mortals to hit and wound anyway. But yeah, these guys, it's just a wee bit of additional help that they can do to negate the combat output of a certain unit. And then yeah, so I need to talk to you about choking Fug. We need to have a chat, Max, because so it says attacks made with the Etheric Fumigator automatically hit. Cool, that's fine. In addition, at the end of the combat phase, you can pick one enemy unit within 3 inches of a model in this unit that is armed with an Etheric Fumigator. If you do so, roll a dice. On a 2-up, that enemy unit suffers D3 mortal wounds. So if I've got a pack of 3, am I just rolling 1 dice on a 2-up, or am I rolling 3 dice?
Yeah, it's interesting. I had this discussion today with some of the referees from Worlds, and the way they interpret it is it's not a clearly written rule. It's not elegantly, but is you roll 1 dice for 1 unit. It's not multiple units, 1 dice, but it's 1 dice for 1 unit.
1 dice for
Usually
1 unit.
we expect something like within 3 inches of any model with this weapon.
Yeah.
But it's pick 1 enemy unit, and then you can roll it to plus D3. So it's an extra.
So, for example, if we had 3 enemy units in combat with you, could you roll a 2-up for each one?
No, that's what I meant. It's one. You pick 1 unit.
So you just pick 1. You roll 1 dice, regardless of how many fumigators.
That's how I understand it, and they do. But maybe it's an FAQ.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. All they need to do is add in the word any, and you're good with that. That's pretty clear. Now before we move on, the worst rule for this entire scroll is the drill bill. Just like, what the heck? But I will say I rolled a 5-up every time I did this as well, which was at the end, after it's fought, you roll off dice for your gunnery sergeant. His little drill bill and a 5-up does a mortal wound. This is just
which is cool. It's easier than it used to be, because before it was the same attack profile, but with Ren's you roll different.
But yeah, if you like rolling dice, guys, this is the unit for you. Just keep rolling them.
Absolutely. They are expensive. Still, that is my biggest critique point since maybe 2 years ago for this unit. They're very expensive. But now on a 3-up save inside the ship, they're 2-up save, -1 to be hit, 4-up rally. There's nothing I found that stops you from rallying inside the ship.
That's interesting. Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah.
Same with, there's nothing that stops you from rallying inside a garrison, unless you then reach the limit and you need to get out, or you can't. But I see these guys as get on the center objective and hold the line and continue shooting.
Yeah.
And the best use you get out of those expensive points is the 4-up rally, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
You definitely want that for this unit.
For sure. No, awesome. Can't wait to get these guys on the table. So yeah, now let's talk about both flavours of Balloon Boys. So we have the Engine Riggers and we have the Sky Wardens. As we've said, both of them can get battle line quite easily. They are both quite combat-centric units, and they only really differ in a couple of different ways in terms of their output, damage output. There are some abilities that they have that do differ. So let's have a chat. So the Engine Riggers, these boys, I think they've seen a rather sizable glow up. They've went from 1 attack to 2, cool, on a 3/3 -2 D3 damage. Nice.
For the saw, yeah.
Yep, for their saws. They're rapid fire rivet guns, so they're 12-inch range, 3s, 4s. So a bit sad it's 4s, but still again minus 2. Yeah, but -2 and 1 damage. So these guys can put out some decent shots. I've been using them to plink off some wounds, definitely. And then the big thing I feel for them is their emergency field repairs. So this is where you can get, as you were talking about before, or you could potentially get like an unkillable Ironclad or an unkillable boat here. So once per turn, your turn and the enemy's turn, your opponent's turn, at the end of any phase at all, if this unit is more than 3 inches from all enemy units, you can say they will carry out field repairs. You roll a dice. For every model in the unit, they pick a sky vessel within 3 inches. So if they're in the sky vessel, it makes it simple, they're within 3 inches. And you roll a dice, and for every 4 to 5, you heal a wound. For every 6+, you heal 2 wounds. You can then obviously get the dirigible suit Engine Master with these guys, and they can be healing on 3s. 3s and 4s will be 1. 5s and 6s will be 2 wounds repaired. I loved this. Is so cool. I was running a Clad build the other night there. The Clad took 10 wounds. I healed 6 back in my opponent's turn, and then in my turn I just healed it full, and then it went off killing and shooting and charging again. It's awesome. So I really like these guys. And yeah, so combat output good. The fact that it's 2 rend, because that's the upside between them and the Sky Wardens. The Sky Wardens have additional attack. The Sky Wardens also have flat 2 instead of D3, so it's less swingy, but they have 1 less rend. So
and they have 2-inch reach. The Sky Wardens.
Correct. That's right. Yeah, these guys they've only got the 1-inch reach, so you might have to you're going to have to either. So what I did is keep them in the boat. So keep them in the boat, keep them in the Clad, and they all can reach at that stage. Or if you're getting them out, you're going to have to do some kind of combat maneuvers.
Yeah, Galician veterans.
Yeah,
the balloon doesn't count as a mount, so they qualify.
Sure.
One thing I'd like to mention here, and it's true for these anti-Sky Wardens, is the grapnel launcher.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
The drill launcher does what it always did. A 6 to hit is 3 mortal wounds on the Skyhook. Now we see this through the entire book. All the Skyhooks, any case, they just do the flat full damage instead of a D3 or D6 damage. This is true for ships and against monsters. So if you face a lot of monsters, you might opt for Skyhooks. But grapnel launches, so good. At the end of your movement, so after the unit moved.
Yep.
You can pick 1 point on a terrain piece within 15 inches, because that's the range of the weapons now, 15 instead of the 24 that it used to be. So quite less. You can remove this unit and set it up wholly within 3 inches of that point, more than 9 inches away from enemy units. So basically, you move 12. You could even run. If you want, because it's an ability, not a shooting attack. So let's say you move 18, then you pick a point within 15. That brings us at 33 inches?
33, yeah.
And then you set up wholly within 3 inches, so 3 inches on the other side of that point that you picked, or on the terrain. So 36-inch movement you just did with your 6 Engine Riggers to desecrate that terrain piece or steal an objective or whatnot. Now, interestingly, it might get FAQ'd. You can do this in combat.
Yeah.
If you're stuck in combat, you say, "Oh, I'm not going to survive this because these people are still 2 wounds on a 4-up safe, so they're very fragile." You could say, "Oh, that little terrain piece over there, interesting. I'll just."
Yeah.
Zip out of combat 15 inches, 9 inches away, and you're golden.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that stays, but it's very interesting to have this movement shenanigan.
Oh, for sure.
added.
Like even just at a wee unit of 3, like just having that.
Yeah, MSU units
Yeah,
are free. You
just
can
that
just
that
zoom about and screen
zippability.
off your ship with that.
Yeah. So you can grapnel out of combat, also grapnel out of boats as well.
There's a bit discussion because you remove the models from the battlefield. If you're inside the boat, you're per se not on the model is not on the battlefield because you've already removed them when embarking.
Okay.
So I personally I think it's not possible to grapnel out of a boat, but again, FAQ question.
Yeah, that's true. Because I suppose you could rule lawyer it and say, well, the rule states that
I think it's the same
all
reason why you
purposes they're
cannot
on.
teleport out of a garrison.
Right.
Because it's basically
Okay.
the same interaction.
Cool.
You've removed something that's not there to be removed.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, great. Movement shenanigans. So combat output, healing, riggers. Awesome. Let's talk it. So we'll touch on the Skywards.
We already said it. The weapons are the
spoke about
same. 12-inch free attacks, freeze and freeze. One rend instead of the 2. That's the main difference. Same combat. We have 2-inch reach, so you can fight from 2 rows.
Yeah.
Free attacks, freeze and freeze. 1 rend, but 2 damage flat. So very almost the same. Depends what you're hitting. Well, armored stuff or less armored stuff. The interesting thing I think about the Skywardens is the timed charge.
Yeah.
The little bomb they carry on the belt. End of combat phase. If you're within 3 inches of an enemy unit, you can say it will use its timed charge to make an escape. Roll a dice on 2 up. You can pick 1 enemy unit within 3 inches of this unit to suffer D3 mortals. That's nice to have, but the important thing is, and this unit must retreat.
Yeah.
Again, this does not work in a boat because inside the boat, units that are embarked cannot make any move, and a retreat is a move. Yeah. But this is, again, so good. You charge into something, then either you see, oh, I didn't manage to kill it because I rolled bad. This is a get out of jail for free card. You know, roll a 2 up, and then you can get back your 12 inches. Or you say, well, I killed this unit and there's still this guy alive. I have a unit in 3 inches. I'll roll this dice to get onto objective, get behind enemy lines. Again, desecrate onto objective. Or, you know, I might have the next turn. I already want to get in range of what's behind. So this is such a good, interesting ability. You can get out of combat, keep your people safe. You can do this with a unit of 9. You fight. You lost a few in combat. You're still fighting some Chaos Chosen. Let's say you didn't kill all, and the 2 remaining they already killed 4 of your dudes. You use this, get out. Start of next hero phase, you can rally them on a 4-up.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Instead of removing models to be outside of free, you can just use this.
Yeah.
So it gives you interesting options. They're a bit more expensive, 130 for free. I think the Ender Ring is 120. So there's that consideration. I like both.
Yeah, I think both have a place for sure. And yeah, I suppose the important thing to remember is for your time charges, you're right, it's not instantaneous, it's not after they've fought, you have to still survive until the end of the combat phase to do it. But yeah, it's really cool. You've got some combinations there where you can try, as you say, wipe the one squad that you really want to kill. You're still within 3 maybe of a wee galley champ that you can just let's plink some mortal wounds off and see if you can maybe kill him with that unit.
Yeah, exactly.
Like going to do it as well.
That last wound.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. It's funny when what's interesting when you run the stats on both of them, and if we assume average damage from the engine riggers, so we assume that they roll 2s for the D3s every time, the engine riggers only win out damage output wise versus a 2-up save.
Yes,
and the wardens.
That is the consideration.
Wardens every time on 3-up or worse are better damage. Excuse me. Now there is quite a lot of high saves out there, so you might fancy the riggers more, you could also spike those damage rolls as well. You could increase and roll a lot of 3s, or 5s and 6s rather for the D3s. But I think for me, it all depends on, again, what you want to use them for as well. So are you taking a clad? You want to keep that clad alive? Well, you probably want some energy ringers as well to get those field repairs in as well. But yeah, I think you're right. You can definitely see play with both, and I really like them. It's just awesome to have that choice as well between the two. And yeah, so let's just round off on the boats. So we have clad, frigate, and we have the gun hauler. So let's talk about the clad first. Let's talk about the big boy. So as we've already said, he's gained 2 wounds, so he's 20 wounds now and a 3-up save. His move still brackets, starts at 10, goes to 8, goes to 6, goes to 4. You now only bracket when you suffer 10 wounds, which is awesome. So it's got a much nicer bracket, which is just in line with most things. Most big behemoth brackets are a lot nicer now, so that's good. And then yeah, so still 8 shots with the carbines at a 12-inch range. Still 4 shots with the torpedoes at a 24-inch range. The sky cannons changed slightly, so the shrapnel now, which was always flat 6, is now only 12-inch range. And the shell has changed its damage output, is that right? So it's now went to D3 plus 3 for the 2 shots from the shell. And then you've still got your great volley cannon there, which I know was quite a big pick for the old books. When I was running double clads, I loved taking the volley cannons. Still 46 shots, these minus 1 damage. And then we've now, as we kind of touched upon, for all the boats, all of them have bomb racks. The way that the bomb racks work is when they make a move over an enemy unit, then you roll on the bomb racks table. The clad starts with 10, and for every 4-up you do a mortal wound to that unit.
Yeah, specifically normal move or run.
Yeah, normal move.
They don't do it on a charge or on a retreat or a pile-in. It's just those 2.
Cool. Yeah,
which is a shame. I'd enjoy to do it on the retreat.
Yeah, that'd be very cool. Like, see ya, and bomb.
I mean, hoppers do it on a retreat, but okay.
Correct. Oh yeah, but we can't be gets. No, for sure. That's a different kettle of fish. But yeah, so transport vessel for these guys. These can take 22.
Yeah.
Skyfarers, which I found to be quite a nice little number. I can get decent combinations of units you can fit inside there. For example, you could get 9 riggers, 10 Arco, and 3 heroes. That's 22, so I like that. Got bulwarks of iron, so that counts as 5 models and objectives. Hallelujah! Finally. More than just 2. Not quite a monster, but still better, and we'll take it. The Skyhook is... I don't think you're going to see it. It does more damage against a monster, and it can snag it on a 4-up, which just makes it not be able to do monsters rampages. Again, I don't think we're going to see this much. But one thing I do really like is the Supremacy Mine. So this is the once per battle, the end of the enemy charge phase. You can see the unit will drop its Supremacy Mine. If you do so, pick an enemy unit within 3 inches, and a 2-up, you do that many mortal wounds to that unit. So I really like that. That's cool.
Yeah, so they charge you, only shell, last word, Supremacy Mine. It just says at the end of the enemy charge phase. It doesn't have to be the one that you got charged in.
Yeah.
So you're in combat with someone, you rammed your boat into them, it turns over to them, end of their charge phase. You, oh, wait a minute, I got this mine here, 2-up. You do mortal wounds.
Yeah.
So you can play out, but there might be some gotcha moments with that.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I think this is one you need to make your opponents aware. It's like, by the way, you can take D6 mortals.
Shooting up worse. The single shots, only hitting on 4s, but D3 plus 3 damage instead of like D6 damage. Mostly torpedoes, carbines, and the volley cannon are the same. 2 more wounds, and most importantly, you need to deal 20 wounds to stop fly high.
Yeah.
It used to be 7. Now it's 20.
Yeah, which is great.
So it's awesome. Yeah.
And also disengage as well, right? Like the
Same, yeah.
the
All of those, yeah.
like all those things. There are command abilities now. Yeah, you're right. You have to kill this thing dead, otherwise it's getting out of there
Yeah.
and could heal back
You
up.
cannot stop it.
Yeah, which is awesome. No, really, really cool. So that's the clad. And as I say, I think if you're thinking of running this competitively, I think one clad is good. I know that Mr. Cron, he's got a double clad list. With
Yeah, he's not
the
got much in it. It's
the
two clads,
two
2 times 15, and
15
that's it.
and the heroes you need to stack the rend on the thunders,
Yeah.
and that's it. But yeah, I still like my clad, and I'm still taking one. Let's touch on the biggest glow up, shall we?
Yes.
Frigates. Hello. So frigates wise, 15 wounds, awesome. 3 up save, even more awesome.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
huge change from the 4 up that it used to have. It has a flat move of 12, so this never degrades its move, which is again awesome. Shooting potential, meh. It's got 4 carbine shots. You can get 5 shots with the shrapnel from the heavy sky cannon. Okay, cool.
It's 9 carbine shots.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it is what it is. But what you're taking this thing for, I think,
yeah,
is assault boat. Yeah, which is so cool. So transport wise, it can take 12 Skyfarers. Really nice number, because that can be a 9 and a 3.
Yeah, that was the worst
sixes.
thing. 10 people. Like, yeah, I can take a unit, but no hero. That was just the worst.
Horrible.
12, which is awesome because it's a multiple of 6s or 3s for the balloons, and you can take a unit of 10 and a heroes. Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. So love it. Now assault boat. This rule, this is such a good rule. So after this unit finishes a charge move, you can pick one enemy unit within an inch of this unit and roll a number of dice equal to the ramming dice value shown on the damage table. So it starts off at 8 for ramming dice. So you roll 8 dice. Every 4 up you do a mortal wound. Nice. So you've got a wee ogre charge there. Cool. Then you pick any friendly units embarked in this unit to disembark. The units that do this have to end or be set up within 3 inches of an enemy unit, and they also count as having made a charge move as well. And in addition, in the following combat phase, the strike first effect applies to units disembarked in this way. Holy moly! Oh my god! Yes, please, combat KO. Oh, yes.
Yeah, this is the real reason how you get onto objectives and take them.
Yeah.
You fly over something with, as we said, all this movement, all the running and charging and shooting and anything, ramming, bombing, ramming. Everyone jumps out and everyone gets +1 to hit with an extra attack, maybe from Brock, or +1 to hit and wound from Bargson, and you're just gonna wipe that objective, that unit, and next turn you can jump back in and do it all again.
So cool. I love it.
You go to the next one.
Yeah.
Clear it out.
Oh, so cool. I think this also as well for me, it opens up potentially an MSU style build as well, where if you wanted to maybe take 4 3s of either riggers or wardens. I've tried this with the 4 3s of wardens because they all have strike first. Am I right in saying that you could attack first with each of those units before the enemy gets to swing? Yeah, so this is where but the fact that they're MSU, it doesn't scare you as much because you're not going to get a return hit back on that unit. You could still activate with each of those units, and then you could also potentially, let's say in a perfect world, they all survive in the combat phase. You've got 4 opportunities to do your 2 up D3 mortal wounds before they then retreat as well.
And if you play 4 MSU, you get 4 unit champions with an extra attack.
Exactly. Yeah, love it. Yeah, so yeah, I really like this, and as you say, there's multiple different options you can put in the boat to get this delivery. I think I've seen quite a few builds that go double frigate, and they stick some balloon boys in there and just go to town.
The rest is similar to the Ironclad. It counts as 5 models, has 8 bombs instead of 10. Skyhook does the same to monsters.
Exactly.
And the Sky Canyon, you just need to choose which attack. That's the same. I think it's very valuable. There's a question in chat. Can you time charge back into the boat?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you can use a retreat to embark.
Would it also would the embark rule also cut that off because you have to embark? Oh gosh, hold on. I'll need to go back to the rule. Let's see.
I think embarking is no, it's just you just need to be within 3 inches.
Says
But I think it's
in addition
movement phase.
in the movement phase.
Yeah, movement
Yeah.
phase. So
no.
hardly not.
Nope.
But it
nice,
doesn't matter
nice
because
try.
you can do it next turn.
Yeah, it's
You
fine.
get the double, you go back in, and you move your ship again, you do it all again.
Yep.
It's not a once per game. Fantastic. 15 wounds. I mean, deciding between a 300 point 15 wounds free up save unit or a 500 points 20 wounds. I mean, this speaks heavily in favor of a frigate.
Yeah.
Unless you really need the carrying capacity and you want the more bombs. But yeah, you get 2 more bombs, but here you get 8 dice for ramming. So it makes them more than viable. Makes them very interesting.
Yeah, no, definitely more bang for your buck there. So yeah, loving the frigates. I don't currently own any, unfortunately, because I felt in the last book they were horrendous. But I'll be getting myself some frigates, don't you worry. And then we've got one last boat to talk about, and that is the Humble Gun Hauler, which also saw a wee bit of a glow up. It kept its points 170, but it's now a 3-up save, which is cute. Like that.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
10 wounds on a 3-up save.
Cool.
Fantastic.
Cool. We've spoken about the compartments as well that you can take.
Yeah, we have the compartment.
It
kept it once per battle, adds 6 inch to its move. We mentioned that. Still gives a 6-up wards to other sky vessels that are not gun haulers.
Yeah.
Has 4 bombs. Basically, did put a lot of text to say it has 4 bomb racks.
Yeah, that's true.
The drill cannon still 5-up is 3 mortal wounds, but only 24 inches now. So again, they reduced the range of all these weapons, which I think is fair. It's fine. And the rest is the same. But yeah, 10 wounds on 3-up save it's an interesting option.
That's interesting.
Especially adding a 6-up ward to your boats on top of the repairs and healing and whatnot. Whew.
No, for sure.
Those boats can stay around if you want.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think, just being able to get that bit more survivability, longevity out of an army that was traditionally quite, as you say, quite glass cannony. Don't get me wrong, like if something really big hits them, like they're just going to go. But it just every little helps here. And yeah, as we spoke about again, there's other kind of synergies, kind of like list building synergies as well. So yeah, if you really want to get that that grand strat, that rule of the skies, just having a wee gun hauler just in your back pocket, that's fine. Your frigates or your clads, whatever, they go out and they all do all the work. Eventually they'll die, but you've still got this little gun hauler. Cool, awesome. Like that's getting you a grand strat. No, I really like them. So yeah, and again, as we also said, they can head full once per battle. Get extra 6-inch move. So yeah, just movement for days, man, which is awesome. And I think that is us, mate. That's
quite a while, but
every scroll, we're about what 2 hours 15, okay. And I think to finish off, just to be the little bow on top, let's finish things off with some lists now. I asked Max to prepare me a list, which we're going to look at. We've had someone already. Julia has already asked Max, what list do you use with Brock? And luckily we have a Brock barrack in our list that Max is going to be showing for us as well. So we'll save the best till last then, Max, and let's look at my list first. So so let's go for it. So I have went for my list. I went Barak Urbaz again, just because I'm really liking the 2 articles that you can get from that. I've taken Inspired as my triumph because of course I want +1 to wound, and I've went as my grand strategy is take what's theirs. The reason for this is this particular list here. I don't have any frigates. As I've said, I've written this list with my current thing that I have in current stuff that I've got in mind. So I've got 2 clads. I'm only taking 1 clad here, but I'm trying to get the most juice out of it. So I don't like particularly the Rule of Skies here, because if they are able to kill the clad, then it's just gone. I've only got the 1 boat, so I don't like that. But I think I could potentially take what's theirs. So I've taken that as like a kind of a wee default one. And then the articles I went for, so I went for Honour is Everything, so that's my 4-up rally. which I like. And then for my additional article, I then went for Settle the Grudges. So that's the +1 to wound against an enemy unit. So yeah, just been loving that every single time. It's just great to get that. You know you're getting +1 to hit against that unit, +1 to wound, sorry, and then you've got the Triumph in your bag, because I am only 1945 points, so I think that's a pretty good. It's a pretty good bet for the Triumph, which is nice. I then went for my amendment of always take what you're owed. So that's the Arcanaut, counts as double in objectives one, and then the footnote of it. There's no reward without risks. That's your 3d6 charge one, which is just awesome. Then for my leaders, I went for my Admiral, who's a general. He's got the command trait X Grundstock to unlock the fully reinforced unit of 15 Thunderers. He's also taken leadership of the Alpha, which is something that I think we actually touched on when we were going through. But that's a really, really strong piece for KO with their ability to stack either 2 command abilities on a sky vessel with a footnote, or getting 3 units +1 to hit in a nice big bubble with the Admiral, which I really enjoy. So that's him. We've then got an Aether Chemist, because I've got my spell in the bottle to bridge my Thunderers, obviously, and then he's also got Tunnel Master to be able to tunnel himself forward and give him that rend buff. They're also getting a rend buff from the Admiral as well. And then I've just went for an Etheric Navigator, just because I think it's a really nice piece, and again to get those ones to half the move. And then I went for an Endrin Master with Endrin Harness just to flat heal my Clad, and also to unlock my Riggers as battle line, which is pretty huge. So then, we went for 9 Riggers. And again, I can double reinforce them because they're battle line. I then went for my Grundstock and just full mixed weapons here. So 3 of everything, which is awesome. And then for the rest of my little foot troops, I've just went 3 10s of Arco. Just again, 1 of everything in them: 1 Skypike, 1 light skyhook, 1 volley gun. And they've been doing some work for me, which has been awesome. Not any killing work, just taking objectives work and being screens, and just being annoying. It's been really good. I then went for my Behemoth as my Clad, as the flagship of my Admiral. I've went Sky Cannon. I might change that in the future. I might change it to the Volley Cannon. See how good I feel about rolling 4d6, and then I've went for the only choice for a Clad, really. If you're taking 1 Clad, I'm only taking the Battle Ram, to give me that 3d6 charge 4-up to do Mortals. And then I've just went nuts for the battalions. I've went Warlord, I've went Galician Sharpshooters, and I've went Galician Command in here as well, just to give me some options, really. I mean, I don't need my Thunderers to be sniping at heroes, but if I've cleared things in front of them and they've got the option, then I'm going to fire away at those galley champs. The fact that I've got the Admiral and the Riggers and the Galician Command, it gives me some counterplay if I'm still in combat and I can use the command ability for strike at the opening, or if I'm taking turn 2 when I can go strike at the opening and then swing with the Riggers as well if they're still inside the Clad. It gives. I feel like it could really be a good little Uno reverse card of, you think you've got me in trouble, you think you've got me pinned, my Clad's on maybe 2 wounds left. I'm just gonna trigger this thing and I'm just gonna kill the things around the Clad, which is awesome. But I think the main plan for me here is the Riggers are going to stay in the Clad and do their thing, because they're the most survivable in there. They've got -1 to hit, +1 to their save, and they're a 9 as well, which makes them much better for the 4-up rally. The Thunderers, as we've kind of touched upon, are just going to get bridged into the middle. They're going to also 4-up rally, and they're just going to blast things off the table. The Arco are going to control the board as much as they can, really, for objectives. Deck chair, sit on my home objectives or whatever. The Clad is the kind of the glue that holds all this together. He's also going to be having the Admiral, the Nav, and the Endrin Master in there in the Clad as well, just to give them extra protection. And then the Chemist is just going to bridge and Tunnel Master and make my Thunderers pop off. And that's the list, mate. That is us. 1945, 10 drops. But again, it's great to just still be in a place where I don't really care about drops. I've been kind of working on my deployments and how I can quite easily corner deploy, screen with Arco, and then you really don't care because you fly high with the Clad, still get the 3d6 charge off on that, and you just bridge the Thunderers forward, and they can move 30 inches and then they have a range of 12 and 18. So what you're talking max threat range 42 to 48. So yeah, no, I liked it. It's done work, but yeah, that's me. So what's your thoughts on the list?
I do like it. Maybe with 1945 points, you could think about getting a double triumph. Because your funders really want the +1 to wound.
Yeah.
So instead of taking the leadership of the alpha for 3 times all attack, you could take a second inspired triumph.
I like that. The other option I was thinking in my head as well is ditching the alpha and taking the Voidstone Orb as the artifact, as a second artifact as well.
Yeah.
Because you've got the nav there, and because it'd be quite nice to be able to say no to some pretty decent spell casting.
Yeah. Other than that, I love this list, and the interesting thing is it would also just perfectly work in a different skyport.
That's the thing, yeah, like 100%. Like I looked at this list and I was like, this could work in Nar.
You can put this in Ring.
Yeah, this could work in Thring.
Get a priest and make those guys even deadlier.
Yeah.
Or you can put them in R and get more command points. So you don't need the leadership of the alpha.
For sure.
Save a bit on those on that command point. Yeah. It's that's the beauty of the book. We won't see two of the exact same lists as that often, I think.
So cool. But yeah, as I say, this is built out of stuff that I have already, and I do love a clad. So I'm just trying to get all the juice out of that as I can. And as I say, in test games, the healing ability on the clad has just been amazing, and it just doesn't die. Just doesn't die unless you just have to nuke it that one turn, or else it'll stick around. Yep. So that's our baz. Let's talk about. So this has been asked for. We've got Barak Nar, and we've got a list with Brock in it. So take us through the list, please, Max.
So yeah, as I mentioned, Barak Nar, because Brock gives you most value in Barak Nar on Barak Nar units. I went for. I'm just waiting for the stream to catch up so I can actually see my list. Here we go. Yeah, Barak Nar, rule the skies because it's super easy to achieve. We have 2 ships, 2 frigates in there. With the magnificent omniscope on 1 because as we said, it's the best option of bad options. My general is an admiral because that unlocks my admiral's flagship, that ability, but also because he is a pretty good combat hero.
Yeah.
We have an Enver Master with dirigible suit with leadership of the alpha because he is, unlocks Enriquez as battle line and he's a good Galician champion. Navigator ability, we said it, great ability. Voidstone Orb, even better. We have Brock, and we have a Code Right, which maybe is the flex point of the list. Maybe this is something you could change out because in Barak now you already get that many command points. Now you get even more.
Yeah.
You can get up to I think like 7 command points per turn, which is a bit maybe over the top. And we gave him the Celestian Burst Grenade to remove a ward. You could totally kick this guy out, put in a chemist with a spell bottle with a free endless spell. I was thinking maybe a Horrorghast, which is an awesome spell. Maybe the Purple Sun, but it's a bit hard to deliver.
Can I just say something as well? Sorry, Max. I've seen some chatter as well about Ravanax being quite a nice pick for KO as well, with the fact that you can have to move with the nav and then pop out that. It
is great, but if the endless spells are wild immediately after we use them with a spell bottle. If a Ravanax turns around, you have an army of movement 4 dwarfs. Might not be that cool to experience, especially since the Navigator lost his, or the Voidstone Orb doesn't work on dispelling anymore.
Can't just get rid of it. So again, same reason for the sun not being seen really anymore because that just turn around and
The
get
sun
you.
mostly is because Zilfin doesn't deliver it anymore,
can't
like
deliver it as
into the
well.
heart of
Yep.
the opponent. For Battleline, we have 9 Endrin riggers with all pistols and swords. We have another 6 Endrin riggers with pistols and swords, and we have 1 unit of company. As you mentioned, we need some screen. I'd actually like to have 2 units, but I was kind of running low on points, and it never came out with putting the Endrin Master on foot, and then I was always like 2,010 points. It was a bit a weird one. For battalions, we have a Galician command, and there's a neat trick that I learned from my friend Timo. He showed me. We have the Endrin Master with the dirigible suit and the 9 Endrin riggers in the Galician command. Keep that in mind. We have a command entourage with magnificent. Can't say it. Magnificent. There we go. So we get the second artifact, and the rest of the guys just went in a battle regiment because why not? 1990 points. So what is the play here? We put the 9 Endrin riggers, the Endrin Master, and Brock into the frigate with the omniscope.
Yep.
That is not the flagship, so it moves 14 inches. With the that ship, the goal is to move it, run it, charge, and get everyone to strike first.
Yep.
But we will not unload the 9 Endrin riggers because we said a 1-inch reach is hard to get, and that's where the battalion comes in. You unload Brock and the dirigible. You can fit them within 3 inches of the boat when you charge someone. Then with the battalion, you can say, oh, I'll select to activate my dirigible. And when I activate him, I can strike with both units, and I can choose the order. And you choose to activate the Endrin riggers.
Like that.
And now they all get in range without disembarking.
I like that. Yeah, very nice.
So they all fight first with Brock near. They all get 3 attacks. So that's 9, 18, 27, 28 attacks. You can spend then an all-out attack from leadership of the Alpha for everyone. So for the Endrin Master and Brock and that unit. So you have 28 attacks on 2s if you're attacking the unit that you settled the Grudges article on. It's 2s and 2s, 2 rend, D3 damage. And then Brock and the Endrin Master together will have another 9 attacks. 2s and 2s because they already wound on 2s, 2 rend, D3 damage. It's a lot of. It's 28 plus. It's 37 attacks, 2s and 2s, 2 rend, D3 damage. Like so you're gonna kill whatever you want.
So just double checking the riggers. They wound on 4s, right? So there'll be 2s and 3s.
They wound the swords wound on 3s.
The swords wound on 3s. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
3s and 3s, and they used to be 3s and 2s, so that's an FAQ question if that's a misprint or it's intentional.
Oh, you're right. Sorry, yeah, I'm thinking of the pistols. My apologies. Yeah. So you're right.
Yeah. We have this come about that just went in. Just 2 people went out. You're dishing out 37 attacks, plus with all this movement and running. What you want to do is fly over and fly back 3 inches in front of them. So you deal 4 mortal wounds from the bombs on average. You ram in, you deal another 4 wounds, so you add another 8 wounds to all that damage you're doing. Now we mentioned before when the ship runs, the unit inside is also counted as having run, so it couldn't shoot.
Yeah.
There's a trick because you can disembark and embark in the same movement phase. So what you do, you get out in front of your ship. Then you run the ship, and you don't use the move to get far away from you. You just use it to tag the unit, to drop bombs, and get back. The unit then moves up 12 inches, wholly within 3, gets back inside, gains an extra range, which is the length of the base of the ship, and has 12-inch reach to shoot. So it can shoot, the boat can shoot, everyone can shoot, while the boat ran to actually get over there to drop bombs. To maybe tag the hero that's behind the unit or inside the unit or whatever. And it's a lot of shots with Ren 2 again from those 9 guys. Hopefully wounding on freeze, or if you're lucky, you get the Triumph inspired. I did some calculations. I think this combat group can kill 20 pink horrors, no problem,
Yeah,
in one turn.
that's crazy.
And next turn, you put the heroes back inside, you do it all again. So that's one unit. That's one side of the fun boat. And then we have the Admiral, the Navigator, the Code Wright, and the 6 guys in the other frigate, which is the flagship. And you said you like to use your Thunderers, get them out of the boat, or you bridge them. Other people use the combat landing, which isn't combat but is a shooting landing, to get them in front of the boat, create kind of a screen to shoot, and then you use the Admiral and the Chemist to give them extra rend. Well, Endrin Riggers don't need it because they already have 2 rend on their shooting attack, so you can easily use those 6. They have 3 shots each, so that's 18 shots, which is similar to a 10-man unit of Thunderers. It's 4 shots less than 10-man with full rifles. 12 inches gets you where you want. If you use the combat landing, you can still add the Admiral Red if you want once per game. So free Red.
Yeah, of course.
And then that's what you use maybe to shoot off that grudged unit. So 18 shots, all attack them because you have the command points in R. 2s and 3s, 3 rend, 1 damage. Can probably kill like a hero or a tough.
Yeah.
If you use the burst crane, you can even kill a Stonehorn with that, just with the shooting.
Sure,
and obviously they can still charge them in and attack them normally. Because if it's your turn, you do all your first strike units, and then you can go to this Endringa unit and attack with them.
Yeah.
And basically that's it. And I'm not sure if it will survive against all units. It's very glass cannon. If someone hits you hard, you might die, but balloons inside the boat, might want to hit free up save.
Yeah.
The ships, you can heal them stupidly. With the dirigible, you can add the 1 to the roll. If you give away first turn, or the opponent takes first turn, keep the ships within 1 inch of each other, so the hero can also affect the unit on the other side. Both engine riggers can heal both boats in different phases, so you're pretty safe.
Yeah, because we have it's only if the riggers are outside of combat to heal. The boats don't need to be outside of combat. Yeah.
Exactly. They can even be behind the boat.
Love it.
Or they can charge 1 boat and there's the other boat with the other guys behind it and do that. And I think I forgot to mention the command trait Stormcaller just makes the Navigator so much better.
Yeah, re-rolling those dice. No, I love it, man. That's really cool. I like that a lot. Just combat KO, and as you say, like you've still got shooting potential as well. You've got tricksy ways to get everybody, even in the boat that ran shoot charge. You can still get them to get back in the boat and shoot. So that's still.
If you can set it up, it's a neat trick.
That's really cool. Yeah, and that's So that's 9 riggers shooting, another 6 riggers shooting. You've got both frigates shooting. You've got the
rock shooting.
Rock shooting as well. The dirigible suit shooting as well. So yeah, it's not nothing. Yeah, that's awesome.
If you can get your own range,
Yeah, of course. No,
like
I like
the running the boat, and you can have both boats run and shoot and charge because of Brock.
Because of Brock as well.
And he's a War Master, so it's in 18 inches, so you should get them both.
Very cool. No, I love it, man. Yeah. I suppose because you were saying that you were struggling with points. Would there be any, just to get more Arco in? Would there be any? I suppose there would be a bit of a drop, wouldn't there? So the only thought I had was if you ran one of the one frigate, which was your big Brock frigate, which was the real juice. Is there any way you think that you would potentially look at a gun hauler with the compartments for the 6 riggers? But you wouldn't be able to transport the heroes, is the only thing.
Not all of the heroes. What I might do is drop the Code Wright and just take 10 more Arcos for 2,000 points.
Yeah, that push it 2k. Yeah. that's a good, that could be a good shout as well for sure.
Because yeah, I don't need the command points from him, but I like the ability to have the 3d6 charge, and if I want next turn, I can use it. I have the flexibility to change to fly high and get off the boat in the same turn.
No, that's a good flex piece for sure. Yeah. But just catching up on chat. So Leo Juliet says wow. Yep, absolutely. Yep, that's a ton of damage coming out of those boats.
If you can apply it,
boats.
it is stupidly.
Yeah, that's nuts. We also had a question from Martinez as well, asking how does the double triumph work? You just take one from an additional enhancement. So I'd reply back saying correct. So just to explain that, so there's no rule in the game saying that you can't take multiple triumphs and that you can't also use both of them. So I know they say that they're once per game abilities, but you just have 2 once per game abilities now. You could even use them in the same phase if you wanted to as well. I believe, or does it say? Yeah, it doesn't even say once per phase. It just says. Does it say once per phase? Or is it once per game?
Because you could spend a gold to buy a triumph and then get your normal triumph for 2 units. I'm not sure if it's ruled, but you could, I think, on 2 different units at least.
Yeah.
Not sure if you can apply it to the same unit.
Yeah. But... No, pretty cool. Yeah, so no, you can stack the triumph. Yeah, exactly. So you couldn't go like +2 to wound, but you can maybe get 2 units and +1 simultaneously, which is pretty cool. But as you had said, Max, to tech into that, you have to ensure that you're super low points, because as soon as somebody beats you by 5 points, like you've just lost your additional enhancement.
You see Git's units with the Indomitable Triumph, they're going like 19, 20 points.
Yeah, there's
because they want to make sure they get 2 of those.
There's a list. I'm going down to a tournament in Nottingham this weekend, and there's a Gits list that's 19, 15 points. Double and double, just to make sure they've got that. For sure, that's something to take into account. But yeah, that's us, guys. That is us. We have made it. We have talked through everything to do with the book. We've even looked at a couple of lists, and I think we've picked Max's brain dry. So thank you very much for all of your insights there, sir. I think we'll pretty much wrap up. So is there anything else you'd like to say before we finish off on the KO, on anything at all?
No, I'm very excited to see what people think of and combinations they bring to tournaments. I think it's a very exciting time. Thank you for having me. I know we exceeded the time massively here talking about the book, but I hope people enjoyed it. And leave comments if you have any questions or ideas or even lists. I'll happily help to answer them.
Awesome.
And click like and subscribe, because I love having more channels talking about AOS. It only benefits the game overall. More people being involved, growing the community. We have all these people now from Scotland, from Germany, competing in AOS Worlds, but not just the teams, but for single tournaments. Everyone can come over, and we are all connected now. We know people from all over the world playing Age of Sigmar. That's awesome.
Yeah. No, awesome. No, thanks very much, man. No, it's been amazing having you on. Thank you for agreeing to that. And thanks so much. The support, it's only kind of from support from yourselves and other players around the world that I'm able to kind of do this content and get people's thoughts, and just get everyone talking about AOS. It really is. It's international and it's everywhere, and I love it. It's great. It's so good.
Yeah.
But then on that, we were saying we'll see each other at Worlds, Amsterdam at the end of May, start of June. So looking forward to seeing you and your boys there, you and your folks. Awesome. And we'll definitely, I'll get you a pint in the dam to say thanks.
Fantastic.
Thanks, man. But yeah, so without further ado, yeah, please like and subscribe, folks. I hope you've enjoyed the show. I certainly have. It's been great talking dwarfs. Huge thanks to all of my patrons as well. We've got a new patron to thank, Mr. Joe Scoville. He signed up this week, so thank you so much for that. And yeah, please do not forget to enter the giveaway competition. So for those of you who do not know, we do a monthly giveaway, and you get tokens from Pro Painted Studios. You get movement trays from Mini Mag Tray. You can also get a Start Collecting, Vanguard, Combat Patrol, whatever you fancy, a box of your choice from Accent Gaming as well. And all you have to do is comment down below in the comment section with the phrase "I answered the call," and you get your name in the hat. And if I pull your name from the hat, you win a bunch of free stuff. So yeah, get commenting, folks. But yeah, thanks so much. It's been very enjoyable, and I think we'll wrap it up there. So it's goodbye from me, and goodbye from Dwarden Max. Thank you so much for being on again, and yeah, make sure to tune in next time and answer the call. Thanks, guys. See you later.
Bye.
Bye bye.